Okay. Let me just let me see. Top chat. All messages. Okay. All right. Let me just open up the questions here. What's going on, man? Just gonna open up the questions here real quick. Go here. What's going on, everyone? So this is gonna be the Q&A. Hey, what's going on? So we're gonna do the Q&A first, just to let you guys know, and then I'll be announcing the winner of the patch giveaway. Got the patches right here, as you can see. I can show you like an up close of them right here. So you got Kill 'Em All. This is the one from 2013, right there. And then got Deicide Legion. This is from 1992, Blue Grape. Kind of hard to see, but here's the copyright. What's up? What's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, we got this one. I don't know if this is considered vintage or not. Excuse me. But this one, I think this one's kind of easy to find. But so yeah, there's that one, and then this one, Darkness, Death Squad. This one I know is kind of hard to find a little bit. I think the first bootleg of this one is actually harder to find, but this one's kind of hard to find as well. So yep, we have the 3 patches here, right there. Hold on a sec. Let me just, yeah, right here. So I think the way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna do the questions first, and then we're gonna do the patch giveaway at the end. Where did I order the patches? Well, this one I bought. I forgot where I got this one. I actually have 2 of these. Actually, you know what? I have a couple questions regarding battle jackets, so I should probably get those out. So give me a second. Here's one. And 2. Okay. Sorry, guys. I had a couple questions regarding patches and battle jackets and stuff, so that's why I'm getting them out. So here we go. So I actually have 2 Legion patches. This one, and then I have this one on the jacket as well, right here. So, yeah, there's that. The one with the stripes, I deconstructed that entire vest because I turned it into the horror vest that I have. I'm not gonna bring it out, but it was basically that whole one with all the stripes on the bottom, and it was just like filled all in the front with patches. And I think my back patch that I was going with was Ride the Lightning. I deconstructed that entire vest, and I was just like, I'm just gonna make a horror vest because at that point in time, I was like, you know what? I don't really want to have 2 battle jackets. So, and then later on, I mean, I ended up making, the one that I just finished, which is like my simple vest, if you want to call it that. So, yeah, anyways, let me pull up the questions here because we got a lot. I got some questions on the post that I posted on the community feed, and then the majority of the questions came from the video. So I'm gonna answer the ones on the video first, and then I'll go to the ones on the post, because the ones on the post, there's probably like 6, or I think it was like 6 or 7 that were on the post that I did, but the majority of them are all on the video, so that's what I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna just go down the list. I don't know. Do you guys want me to say your name, that who asked the question, or do you guys just want me to just go through the questions because I know you are all anticipating the patch giveaway, so we can go through this kind of quickly because I know a lot of these questions are um, kind of like you want me to elaborate on these questions. So what do you guys think? Do you guys want me to read your name when I do the questions, or do you guys just want me to go through them? The name would be cool. Yeah, okay. Please say the person's names. Okay. All right. Some of these um some of these names are actually kind of hard to say. So if I butcher your name, I am so sorry. Okay. Oh, and by the way, let me just show you this real quick before we go. Before we start doing all this, I have, let me show you guys. Kind of hard to see, but I have, it starts up here. I have a list of all your names right here. Everyone who asked a question is on here. And so just so you guys know, so you guys see that everyone's name is there. I have all your names. And the way I'm going to be doing it is I was thinking of two ways of doing it. I also have them all written down. I have them all written down right here. I was gonna cut those up into strips. Thanks, man. This is actually my girlfriend's shirt that I'm borrowing. She likes to wear like band shirts or whatever, but she doesn't like the women's fit. She likes the way just like a regular t-shirt fits, so I'm actually borrowing it because I used to have a killer shirt, but I got too small, so I had to throw it away or give it away. I think I sold it. But yeah, excuse me, guys. So yeah, what I was gonna do is I was just gonna like cut like these into strips, like individual names, and pull it out of a hat. But I think what I'm gonna do is go on like a random name generator and just have a computer randomly select the name. I think that would be a lot easier. So that's what we're gonna do. So without further ado, we're gonna get to the questions. So I'm gonna read the name. So sorry if I butcher it again, and then I'll read the question and I'll answer it. Um, so we have the first question from Christian Shirt Schurter. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but that's the first question. So the first question is, if you could wake up one metal god from death, who would it be? That is a tough question because there's a lot of members that I would want to bring back. It's tough. You got Cliff, you have Chuck, you have who else do we got here? I'm just drawing a blank here. We got John Bonham. It's really, you got Lemmy, of course, Dio. It's a tough question. Um, I think if I had to bring one person back, Dimebag is another good one. Thank you. That's a fantastic choice. It's tough. It's really tough. Vinny Paul, um, or Phil Taylor from Motorhead as well. It's tough. Um, that's a tough one. I can only bring back one. I think I'm gonna go for me personally, just because I would want to do it. And you guys, I know you guys are all thinking that I would bring back Cliff Burton because I'm just like huge Metallica dude, like they're my favorite band of all time. But I would go with Chuck Schuldiner, and only because Death is one of my favorite bands of all time, and the more the shows that I watched, like live shows from them, the more I long to be at all those shows, especially when it was the one that he did at Dynamo Festival. I love that concert like completely. It's like probably my favorite Death concert, Dynamo. And so I would totally bring back Chuck Schuldiner because I would kill to see Death live for sure. Someone who chooses Chuck Schuldiner. Yep, and I could see that your profile picture is The Sound of Perseverance, of course. I actually love that album, by the way. I think The Sound of Perseverance is severely underrated. I think in my opinion, it's like the second best album. So if for me, for Death, it goes Leprosy and then Sound of Perseverance for sure. Like, you know, everyone says like, oh, it's Scream Bloody Gore or Spiritual Healing, Human. Personally, for me, it goes Leprosy and then uh, The Sound of Perseverance. Love that album. All right, so that's who I would bring back from the dead. You would bring back Dimebag. That's a good choice. I would. It's a tough choice because there's so many amazing artists that have passed away, and it's tough. But for me, I would definitely bring back Chuck. All right, so we got another one coming. So Chris, what's your all time best concert experience? Um, well, let's see. I think my best concert experience was seeing the Metal Alliance tour in 2013. And that was with Anthrax, who played the entire Among the Living album, and then threw in Death Rider. Was it Death Rider? Yeah, they threw in Death Rider just for good measure, and then they also did I'm the Man, which was pretty cool. So yeah, it has to be when I saw them, and then Municipal Waste played with them, High on Fire, and Holy Grail, and Exodus was supposed to play with them, but I think okay, so I saw them at the House of Blues in Anaheim when it used to be there because now I think they moved it somewhere like down the road, but it was the one that was in Anaheim in downtown Disney. So it's funny because Exodus was the one band that couldn't play at that one venue because I guess it being on Disney property because it was on downtown Disney, they felt Exodus was gonna cause too much chaos and cause too much of a liability because they heard that, Exodus puts on crazy shows and the crowd gets nuts when Exodus plays. So they were like, you know what, we can have all these bands play, but Exodus cannot play. And I was just like, I was blown away. I was like, really, Exodus gonna, they're not gonna play? That's like insane that they're not gonna let Exodus play. So I was pissed that Exodus wasn't playing. I found out and I was just like, are you kidding me? But yeah, it was what it was, and Exodus didn't play, but I got to see Holy Grail, High on Fire, which um, honestly, I'm not really a huge High on Fire fan. In fact, when they played, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go buy my merch. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do before Anthrax comes on stage because it was Holy Grail, Municipal Waste, then High on Fire, and then Anthrax. So, um, so when High on Fire came on, I was there with a bunch of my friends too. Um, that's why I think it's one of my all time favorite concert experiences because a lot of my friends like from school, like I had a bunch of metalhead friends in high school, and I could pretty much tell you that every single one of them was there at the show with me, and we were all just on the floor moshing together and headbanging together. It was like probably the funnest concert I've ever been to. Was the Metal Alliance tour 2013. Loved that show. I actually I wore this vest there, this one, and um, it was before it looked like this. I don't remember. I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to have a bunch of buttons right here on the pockets and here too on this pocket. It was just like full of buttons. And I remember at the show, I had to take all of the buttons off of the jacket because I was afraid that they were all gonna fall off in the mosh pit. So what I did, it was like two big handfuls of buttons. I didn't even realize how many I had on there, but it was two big handfuls, and I had them all in my pockets with my phone and wallet and everything. And my pockets looked like I was like smuggling stuff inside the venue. It was nuts, and I was moshing like that and stuff. It was pretty funny. So, oh, and then another fun story from that concert is, I don't know if you guys remember my friend Josh. I would talk about him in older videos, but for those of you who don't know, I have my best friend. His name is Josh, and we used to hang out all the time. But he moved to Anaheim, so he's still pretty close. But I haven't seen him in such a long time. But when we used to hang out all the time, he would go to all these shows with me, and he was like he's like probably like my closest friend. So um, but anyway, so we were. I remember, I saw him. I I was like getting shoved out of the pit, but I remember I could see Josh in the pit, and he was doing a circle, and like I just remember I saw him, and he just went boom, and like I didn't like I saw his head, and then I just it disappeared, and I was like, oh shit, like what happened? And then I saw like two guys pick him up, and then like I was like, oh shit, he fell. I thought he got stepped on or something, and I was like, no, dude, like what happened? I have to go save Josh now. But no, two guys picked him up off the pit, and then I remember after the show he was like, dude, did you see me fall in the pit? And I was like, yeah, yeah. And he's like, I tore my jeans. Or like, you see this big hole in my jeans? And there was like a big hole like right here on his knee. And he was like, dude, I totally fell. And like I ate shit and I almost got stepped on, but these two guys like picked me up and I was like, I saw the whole thing. I thought I was gonna go have to save you, dude. So yeah, I think for sure like that was one of the more fun shows or the probably the best show I've ever been to. I beat those who disrespect Anthrax. Yeah, I don't know why a lot of like people hate on Anthrax. I don't understand it. I mean, there's there's nothing really to hate on. I mean, is it because they fused rap and metal together? I mean, I don't know what it could be. Is it Joey Belladonna's voice? Who knows? It's the whole rap thing. I figured. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. They're just experimenting with sounds. So, I mean, if a band wants to go off and experiment and, stray away from the norm, I feel like that's totally fine to do. But yeah, I can totally see why people would be against that. Like they have like metal elitists, I call them, you know? Um, they're the worst of the big four. Yeah, I I mean, if you're comparing them to say Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica, if you're putting them at that, I mean, I wouldn't put them at the bottom. I wouldn't say they're the bottom, but out of the four, the big four, I think that they would be definitely, low man on the totem pole. Then, uh, I mean, where do you go from there? I mean, it's hard to rank the big four because they're just all great in their own right. You have Anthrax, you have Slayer, Megadeth, and then Metallica, of course. The list for the big four just kind of differs from person to person. Like for me, of course, Metallica would be number one. Then from there, it gets different. It gets difficult to rank after that because I'm just like, well, there's Slayer, and there's Megadeth, and there's Anthrax. So where do I put them? It's too hard to rank, I think. But um, yeah, I've always had that like debate with people on who's the best in the big four and how do you rank it, you know what I mean? Metallica would be number one. I'd rank Megadeth, Slayer. Okay, so okay, Metallica's at the bottom. Is it now? Let me ask you. Let me ask you this: Why would Metallica be at the bottom? I think maybe I have that answer already, and I'm not saying it just because like oh I'm a Metallica fan. Here I come bashing you. No, like I generally like to know these things. Metallica's definitely number one. Yeah, I mean, it just again it depends, and we all have our preferences. I think the whole Metallica thing for people is the fact that they strayed from thrash for a bit, and they did their own thing, but I mean you have to remember Metallica as a group never stuck to. I mean, yes, they were thrash, but even back then when they were thrash, uh, I've listened to Metallica my whole life. Yeah, I guess it's Metallica is now like kind of like a hit or miss band for people, especially amongst metalheads. But I mean, even back then when Metallica, was thrash, you know, Metallica never liked to classify themselves as thrash metal. They were always, we're just Metallica. Do we're gonna play whatever we're gonna play, and if people don't like it, then that's okay. You know what I mean? I remember I was watching. There's this great documentary about the Master of Puppets album. I can send you guys. I can link it in a post after I do all this. It's a great documentary that I've been wanting to share with you guys. It's about Master of Puppets, the album, and how it's progressed, and it shows different interviews, and they show that famous interview with James and Cliff, where they're sitting in the bus, and Cliff is just like, uh, we do what we want to do, and if people don't like that, then whatever, and I left a comment on that interview. I don't remember if it was on that documentary video or if it was on the actual interview itself. And I said, you know, people like to think that if Cliff was alive, that Metallica would have been thrash forever. You know, the Black Album wouldn't have existed, Load wouldn't exist, and all that would never have existed. And that I think that that's a poor way of thinking because Cliff already had that mindset where he was like, you know, we don't have to play, you know, 1,000 miles an hour all the time. We don't have to play thrash all the time. We can play slow songs. We can play, you know, whatever we feel in that moment. And I think if Cliff was alive, Black Album would still be the Black Album. Load would still be Load. Reload would still be Reload, and so on. And that's just because Metallica has always had that, you know, mentality of this is what we're gonna do and we're gonna do it no matter who says we can't, you know? I don't know. That's just like Metallica for me. It's always been I've always like loved that mentality about Metallica, and that's why I think why that they're my favorite band because they just have that we don't care attitude. You know, even though like a lot of, you know, Saint Anger was horrendous. I mean, let's be honest. Saint Anger is horrible. And so is Lulu, but I wouldn't count that as a Metallica record. I'd count that more of as a collaboration gone wrong. So, anyway. So let's go to the next question. Let's move right along here. All right. Oops. I messed something up. Okay. We're going to move on to Ruben. Ruben Road. Were you ever in a band or did you ever think about it? Also, love your channel. Keep up the great work, and thanks for being so awesome on Instagram by letting me first update my vest. Yeah, no problem. By the way, speaking of Instagram, if you want me to post your vest on a future video, make sure to DM me on Instagram, um, and I will share it in a future video. Just send me front and back or whatever. If you want me to wait to post it because it's not quite finished yet, then by all means finish it and. Uh, I can post it whenever you want. My vest is almost done. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, whenever you finish it, if whenever you feel comfortable to send it in, just send it in. I'll post it. Okay, so the question was, were you ever in a band? Um, I was in two bands very briefly, both of them. And the reason it was very brief for both is because I just had other commitments. I had, you know, school and work and all that stuff, and it's hard to maintain when you're busy. You know, it's hard to set aside time for stuff like that. Um, when you have, you know, more important things like, bro, you the guy who stole my bike. What? I didn't steal your bike. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no bike. I don't ride bikes, so I don't know what you're talking about. Um, but anyways, yeah. So I was in two bands, and they were very brief. Okay. Yeah, I'm a thief. Yeah. Okay. All right. See ya. Yeah. I don't even know what kind of bike you got, boy. Okay. Anyways. So yeah, I was in two bands, very brief. Anyways, um, they were very brief only because again I was working and yeah. Go ahead, call the cops. Call them. Good for you. No idea who you are. No idea where you came from. I got you on CCTV. Okay. Nice. All right. Anyways, I want to get back to my thing, but I mean, this guy's kind of distracting me. Don't worry, bro, you getting arrested. All right. Good for me. Yep. I'm a thief. Yeah. You don't even know who I am. What's my real name? Oh, duh, it's on my channel. No shit. Where do you live? Where do you live? Stealing people's money. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to report you. Harassment. See ya. All right. See ya. All right. Anyways, back to the story here. So yeah, again, like I keep trying to tell you guys, I was in a band, two of them, actually, and it was very brief band, um, and it was only because again I was trying to, you know, deal with work and deal with school and stuff, and it was hard to do that in a band, like you know, maintain time for the band to go and then maintain work as well. You know, it was tough to do both. So I was just in two very brief ones. They were local, and you know they weren't very far, and they were good bands. One of them was actually I think both of them were like in the thrash direction, um, but with heavy metal influence. I remember in one band we were jamming out to Judas Priest, Scream for no Electric Eye. We did Electric Eye, and then can you make someone a moderator? Yeah, let me do that. Let me go to this thing here. Yeah, I'm gonna hide user. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we were jamming to Electric Eye, and then I remember, uh, they needed a. We were gonna do Creeping Death, but yeah, Electric Eye is one of the best songs ever written. Yeah, I agree. It's really good. I love that song. There's definitely better ones on Screaming for Vengeance, but yeah, it's it's a good song. But there, I think that I think that the song Screaming for Vengeance is good. Do you listen to Typo? Yeah, you know, I kind of listen to Typo Negative. Um, it's again, I kind of like them, but I don't know. Typo Negative is just kind of like it's one of those bands where like it's like got like kind of like I want to call them like goth metal or like a doom metal or something like that. There are a couple songs I do like from them though, that's for sure. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I had been in two bands, but since then I haven't been in a band at all. Again, it's kind of hard to do with considering the fact that I got work and school and stuff. Yeah, Peter Steele is a great vocalist. He's got extreme talent. That guy's a even though I'm not really a big Typo Negative fan, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due. Do I like any metal bands from Mexico? Yep, this band right here. This one. Right there. Got their patch. They sing in Spanish, but and I can't really understand it, but excuse me. I love like all their stuff. All right. So yeah, that's that question. Full tax. I will check them out. Thanks for the suggestion. I always love like recommendations on new bands. So if you guys, you know, want to recommend me, you know, bands I've never heard of or something like that or new music, just you know, tell it to me. I'll definitely look it up. I love like, you know, finding out new bands and listening to new music. So all right, we're gonna move on now to the next question. All right. So I'm not exactly sure how to say your name. So I'm gonna spell it because I don't know how to say it. So it's TRV3Y. Okay, so that I'm not exactly sure. I know you're in the chat. I've seen you. You're in the chat. I just don't know how to say your name. Um, but that's exactly how you say it. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I didn't butcher it. All right. So the question is, how do you feel about the new wave of traditional heavy metal? Are you into Skullfist, Enforcer, Traveler? Okay, so that's a good one. I've never heard of Traveler before. I should check them out. Never heard of them. I do like Enforcer and I do like Skullfist. Um, I think though the new Skullfist record was like kind of a miss for me. I liked um, Chasing the Dream. That's probably my favorite Skullfist album, Chasing the Dream. But yeah, so I do like the new wave of traditional heavy metal. It's great. I've heard Traveler. is great. Yeah, I've never actually heard of them before, so I'm gonna have to check them out. But yeah, I do like Skullfist and Enforcer. I did have a, I don't know if I still have it. Oh no, I had a From Beyond. Um, I had a From Beyond patch. It was the triangle one. I did have it, but I think I traded it or sold it. I don't remember. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's a good question. I do like bands of that nature, and I saw Voltax. I guess is a new wave of traditional heavy metal. I'm gonna have to check them out. So two bands already that I need to check out for sure. Okay, now we got Weston Winkle asks if there's one standout memory of first becoming a metalhead, what would it be? Um, I think when I think maybe when I first became, you know, when you would classify yourself as a metalhead, I think when I first classified myself as that, I think it the memory for me was when I started dressing like one with, you know, the metal shirts and stuff like that. I would get, I would get stared at a lot. You know, and I was never used to that kind of, excuse me, kind of attention before. It was something new where, because, you know, I would never get noticed before that. But once I started wearing all this, you know, crazy stuff like battle jackets and metal shirts and torn jeans, I used to patch up my pants a lot. So I'd wear patches on pants and stuff, and I'd have my hair all the way down and stuff, cut off shirts and whatever. I think I would get stared at, you know, a lot. And I think that that's kind of my first memory of becoming, you know, a metalhead was just getting that kind of like a, like making people's heads turn like oh shit, like what the hell is he wearing, you know. And I don't know, I didn't know if it was because they thought my shirt was cool, or if they thought that I was gonna, I don't know, like I was gonna like beat them up or something. I don't know. I don't know what they would, I don't know why they would look at me so weird. It would I wouldn't be able to tell if they were looking at me in a good way or a bad way. I would just get head turns. And I see that a lot too when I see metalheads on the street. I'll see, you know, people either give him a death stare or kind of like, you know, hey, let's not go near him, or something like that. And I think that it's because, you know, metalheads get uh, they have kind of a bad stigma on them, and I don't know why. It's just, that's just the way it is. It's a bad stigma uh, on metalheads, and I think it's just because, you know, the imagery of frightens people, and they don't get they don't have a proper view about what we're all about and what this music is about. You know, they all think it's emo music. I think that's like the most uh, ignorant statement that people can say when they don't know about metal, and they're just like, oh, they, you know, everyone just, you know, yells and screams and uh, you know, cuts themselves and all that stuff, and or worships Satan and all that stuff. And it's just like, you know, you have the most twisted view of the of metal. You know, you're talking about, you know, one little percent of the music genre as a whole, when there's a wide mass variety of metal music. You know, it's just, you know, they focus on that one little stereotype, that 1%, where it's like, oh, they're all Satanists, and it's like, well, you know, yeah, kind of part of it is, you know, the black metal bands, uh, the black metal bands freaking are the ones that do all that. You know what I mean? And some of those black metal bands don't even do that. They just do it for image. You know what I mean? And it's just like they focus on that 1%, and they take that and make the genre a whole. Like it's stereotype. It's stereotyping, and I think that that's unfair. You know, I mean, I'm not one to stereotype one genre of music. I would at least want to go, you know, look into it first before making a judgment, give it a try. You know what I mean? I've given many genres of music a try, and I either like it or I don't like it. It's just, that's just the way it is. But when people view metal and they're like, I'm not gonna go near that. I don't want to touch that because it's bad. And it's like it's not bad. You should just look into it. There's bands that you might like. There's bands that you can go to that don't talk about the stereotypes that you're saying at all, who don't do any of that stuff. You have Striper, who's a Christian band who plays heavy metal music. They're Striper. It's not devil. It's not. They're not yelling. They're playing their instruments very well, and he sings very clean, and they sing about Christianity and what have you. So it's just when people don't take the time to really understand the genre is when they come off as ignorant and they come off as stupid. In my opinion, they come off stupid. So I think that that's one memory that I have of, again, of being a metalhead, is just getting the constant stares and getting stereotyped right off the bat. I love Striper. Yeah, Striper is great. I do like Striper a lot. Um, but yeah, so that's one memory. All right. So now we're gonna move on to LA's Totally Awesome. What's the last few shows you've been to? I'm also from SoCal, so we probably ran into each other. I don't know. Maybe we did. I don't. I haven't been to many shows lately. I think the very last one that I went to is No, man. What was the last one I went to? The last show that I saw was uh. Well, as far as uh, the actual band, because I go to tribute shows too. But as far as actual bands go, the last excuse me, last actual band that I saw was I think it was Metallica. The last band I saw. Like I mean real band, because the last time I was at a concert. It was a tribute show for Metallica. I don't know if many of you guys know Damage Inc. They're a tribute band to Metallica, and I've seen them a lot. I actually like them a lot. That was the last one that I went to, was Damage Inc. But the one for an actual band, I think, was Metallica when I saw them at the Rose Bowl. So that was the last show that I've been to. But so yeah, that was I don't know if you guys know who Damage Inc. is, but yeah, where we met at the swap meet. Yep, that's for sure. Yep, it was Damage Inc. And I was there with my girlfriend and my cousin, or my cousins. I would assume Sepultura. Yeah, yeah. A lot of concerts that were going on, or were supposed to be going on this year. Like I wanted to go see Testament. I wanted to go see Municipal Waste. I wanted to go see System of a Down. That's not gonna happen. This whole thing kind of like messed everyone up. It messed up the whole concert schedule and whatever. And a lot of good shows were lined up. I was actually excited for the list of shows that I was seeing for this year. I was excited, but of course this all this happened. Wanted to know your thoughts on stores like Forever 21 selling band tees. Um, yeah, that's I've never I've never been like what's the word? I've never been opposed to it, and the only reason I would be opposed to it is because people go to these trendy stores, these fashion stores, and they wear the band shirts, for fashion, and I get it, and I get it if you get, excuse me, these shirts and you like the band. Like let's say, because you don't really know somebody's musical taste until you actually talk to them. Um, Girls who go into Forever 21 and stuff, I mean, I could sit there and stereotype them as saying, they're just, they're all into whatever today is about and just want to be what's popular and all that. But what if a girl does go into Forever 21, or a guy, whoever, and they do find the Metallica shirt, because I know that they sell Metallica shirts, and they do get a Metallica one, and they, for all they're like, oh yeah, I love Master of Puppets, I love the song Damage Inc. I mean, you don't know. So but it goes back to stereotypes, like what I was talking about earlier. um it's all stereotyped. You don't know their musical tastes, and you kind of have to give them a chance. and be like, like, I personally wouldn't go up to them and be like, yo, do you really like this band that you're wearing? Name 5 songs, and I've had people do that to me. I've had people come up to me and be like, oh, so you like Iron Maiden? Name me 5 songs by Iron Maiden that aren't their hits, and I'll do it and I'll shut them up. It's because they don't know. They're like these metal elitists, you know what I mean? And I can't stand metal elitists, you know? And in the past, I will admit I have been, okay, I have been a metal elitist in the past. I did used to be one of those people that would be like, name me 5 Dio songs. Or I would throw at you, I'd be like, if I knew you didn't know the band, I would clown on you and be like, "Hey, look, do you know this song called Battery by Dio, and it's on the album Rest in Peace?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." You know, I would clown on people like that, and I honestly regret that stuff, you know what I mean? I had a homeless guy try to call me out at Popeyes because I was wearing a Molly Crew shirt. Yeah, I've had, people try and do that too, where I'm just like, I'm getting called out for wearing whatever shirt. But anyways, yeah, so it just goes back to and I used to do that, and I I can look back on it now and and be like, why would I do that? You know what I mean? I used to be on the A7X. Yeah, I honestly, honestly, I did too. I used to just hate on Avenged Sevenfold for no reason at all when I would secretly like them a lot. And I do not secretly, I do like them a lot. I think they're great. I think that they are very talented people. I'm fortunate enough to get to see. I got to see them when I saw Metallica at the Rose Bowl. It was great. They were really good live, and it. Before that, I hadn't listened to Avenged Sevenfold in years. And when I saw them live, it just like brought me back to my time as a freshman in high school, and being in middle school as well, because I used to listen to Avenged Sevenfold in middle school a lot, and it just brought me back to that time, and I'm like, man, like, why did I stop listening to these guys? Why did I jump on that hate bandwagon to and for what, it's just like these things where I look back on myself when I was like, in high school and stuff, and I'm just like, I wish I wasn't like that. I wish that I would have just stuck to my guns and said, this is what I like. If you don't like it, that's fine. I'm gonna like it, whether you say I'm stupid for liking it. I don't, back then I shouldn't have cared, in other words, but I did. And I would jump on these bandwagons of hate for different things, like glam metal bandwagoners who say they hate glam metal, and it's like, well, why do you hate glam metal? What's wrong with it? They have great songs. And back then I used to be like, oh, fuck glam metal, Poison, oh, stupid. uh, Rat, stupid. You know what I mean? But now I look at it now, and I'm just like, Rat's great, Poison's great, Warrant's great. You know what I mean? I can look at these bands from glam metal and say, why are you guys hating on these bands? And I get it's the war of thrash metal. It's thrash versus glam or whatever. But I mean, I see it as it's metal. It's music. It's if it's got a great riff and a great melody, and it makes me it makes me feel good inside to listen to it. It's metal. I like it. It's got something. If it makes you feel that way, then it's a great song or great artist or whatever. You know. But anyways, let's go on to the next question. So we have SinisterSkulker asks, what patch holds the most sentimental value for you? Okay, see, now that's why I got my battle jackets up here, because um, I have battle jacket questions. So, the heart one? Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I made it. This one. This one obviously has value to me because, it's me and my girlfriend. I made this for me and her, like, way back then. This was during our first year together I made this. And, yeah, it has her name and my name on there. And so, yeah, it would be this. This is one of them. Um, That's like for personal value to me, but as far as like monetary value, like money and stuff, it's got to be either this patch right here, the overkill patch, this one, or pestilence right here, consuming impulse for sure. Those two have really big monetary value, but as far as value personally, it'd be the heart, because this represents me and my girlfriend, who I've been with now for this year will be 8 years. I've been with her. Oh yeah, Toxic World Circus. This is a this is a pretty hard bootleg to find. There was actually a redone bootleg of the bootleg, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, this is actually the first bootleg right here. This is the first one, and I got it when it first came. Actually, I didn't feel it. I didn't get it when it first came out. I actually traded for this, but yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Um, but yeah, and then on the back, I think that there's one back here. That's this one. Among the Living is a pretty hard to get one too. This one's kind of sought after as well. Among the Living, and then what else? The second one was made by the same guy. Oh, was it? See, I didn't know that. I got the first one, and then I also have this one, which is I think this one's also hard to find too. Is Think This. This one's pretty hard to get. I did get this one when it first came out. I bought this one. And then this is a pretty rare one too, I think. Master. This is pretty rare. This one is for sure rare. So far so good, so what? This one I've been looking for a long time, and then I was trying to get this one for a long time too. But I wanted it in a red border, but I was like, I'm never gonna get the red border, so I just said forget it. So I just got that black one instead. This one was fun to get. SOD. This one actually, I was not in a bidding war on eBay, but there were like maybe 2 people. The Hallows Eve one, yeah, the Hallows Eve one is really rare. I had 2 of them at one point, and I got asked about them constantly, and I finally gave I traded one away for this Violence one. So actually, I think I got rid of Hallows Eve. This one, the Tales of Terror. I had 2 of them. This one. So this is one that obviously I have, and then I had another one, which I traded away because I kept getting bugged about it forever, and I got it for this one. This one right there. I think this one's only limited to 50. This is a bootleg that's, I think 50 were made on it. I'm not exactly sure. This one as well. This one is definitely, I get bugged about this patch by a lot of people too as well. Budgie Night Flight. This one I actually got for I got for cheap. This one came in a lot of patches. Like it came with 5 patches. It came with this one obviously, and then it came with a couple other ones. I think Gillen was one of them, like Ian Gillen's solo career. There's a patch of that. I think it came with another Budgie patch. It was just the logo. But I paid, how much did I pay? I don't know. I don't remember how much I paid, but it definitely was not what this is actually worth, for sure. I don't think the guy understood what he was getting rid of. But for sure, this one was Celtic Frost and Budgie Live at Ready. Yeah. That was the one. I got Celtic Frost, what's that Celtic Frost record? It's the one I don't really like at all. It's like their weird album. Anyway, but yeah, it was this one for sure. I didn't get it for, I didn't get Budgie for what it was worth at all. Like, Budgie is worth probably, Cold Lake, that's the one, yes. Cold Lake. It was the Cold Lake tour. Yeah, you're right. Cold Lake tour. I just watched the vid. Yeah. Oh, this one too. I know I keep going back to the battle. I don't know if I have a lot of rare patches, but this is a pretty good one too. What was your first patch? Oh, I don't have any of my first patches anymore, but I remember what they were exactly. So actually, this vest, this one, it used to have a collar. My some of my older videos, you could see the collar. This one actually had sleeves on it. So when this had sleeves, um, on this shoulder right here was an Iron Maiden Killers patch. It wasn't woven. It wasn't actually, I wouldn't call it woven and I wouldn't call it embroidered, you know? It was more like, I'm not exactly sure. It's like a weird Iron Maiden Killers one. It was like, it looked like it was sewn on felt, like a felt material, and then it had like Eddie and all silver. It was a weird patch. I got it at one of these metal stores that I go to a lot. Um, but anyways, yeah, so it was on this shoulder, like right here on the top. And then on this shoulder, right here, it was a Metallica patch and it was the Saint Anger Fist. So it's in Metallica and it had the Saint Anger Fist and it was on this shoulder, and then on the back I got my back patch was Metallica, but it was the scary guy. So it was scary guy where he's like this. It That was my back patch. So I had a back patch and then a patch here on this shoulder and a patch here on this shoulder, and that was it. Those were my very first patches that I got. And what patch will you replace the Hallows Eve circle? I don't know. That's a good question. I have a spot, two spots open actually. I have one right here, and then I have the one on the side. So I know one thing can go like in this spot where darkness was. This was where darkness was. It was like this. It was right here, like this. So this spot will be filled by something, and then another one will go here on this spot right there. Yeah, that I remember I saw the Hallows Eve Tales of Terror, the Circle bootleg, and I saw it and I was like, you know, I don't really want that one. I want like the first bootleg, but I ended up getting it anyway because I needed a filler, and I was like, you know what, I don't have a Hallows Eve patch on this vest, so I'll get it. You know, why not? It'll fit here. I found the spot already. Yeah, I've seen the newer versions. I've seen them on eBay, and is your Overkill Field of Fire and Hallows Eve shirts still up for grabs? No, those are long gone, sold off a long time ago. Um, I honestly I kind of regret giving away, or not giving away, but selling the Overkill one because it was a cool one, and it that one that I had is, in my opinion, hard to get. I think Overkill shirts, like as far as like for classic Overkill albums, like Under the Influence, Feel the Fire, Taking Over, excuse me, ooh, excuse me. Those types of shirts are, I think they're kind of hard to come by. I mean, you see like the newer ones instead, like with newer Overkill albums, you see those instead with newer designs. As far as classic ones go, they're kind of hard to find in my opinion, but nonetheless, I sold it off anyway, and Hallows Eve I sold off, which I also regret too because that was a cool shirt. But I did find a new Hallows Eve one on eBay that I'm looking at and I want to get. It's really cool. Um, so yeah, so those were the patches and stuff. So um, next question. We have a lot to get to, so let's go through these. Luis Garcia asks, "How would you go about reviving the thrash metal movement as it was in the '80s?" That's tough because thrash metal has evolved. I mean, you could say it's evolved, I guess. Um, it's definitely different than the '80s thrash. It'd be hard to revive it just as it was in the 1980s. I think with what the new wave of thrash metal has done, with bands obviously like Municipal Waste and Evile, um, what's that other one? Ulysses Siren, I think, is another one. Bonded by Blood. I think that what these new wave of thrash bands have done already. is exactly what I would have done. Just kind of play. You enjoy the music so much. Play what's in your heart, man. Play what's in your soul. If you wanna you know name a band bonded by blood after one of the you could argue one of the pioneers of thrash metal, as far as taking thrash metal to a new direction, then by all means, I feel like that is reviving it. You're taking the spirit of, yes, I've heard of Hatchet. I don't think I've heard a lot from them, but I have heard the band name before. But yeah, I think that just what these new wave of thrash metal bands have done have taken that idea of taking the thrash metal movement of the 80s and making it with a modern sound, and I think it's great. I think it's you're bringing it back to like that spirit of what made thrash great, and adding I might argue better production to these songs, because Municipal Waste, I think the only complaint that I have with Municipal Waste is that um, they get very stock. They get very stuck in the same sound. Every song is the same. Every riff is predictable. Every song is predictable with Municipal Waste. And that's not to trash them, because I love Municipal Waste. I love them, and they put on a fantastic show. And I think that that's what makes Municipal Waste in and of itself a great band, because they take these songs, they all sound the same, but when you're at a show, you don't really care if they sound the same, because you're just they're too busy like just kicking your ass while you're in the crowd, and you don't even care at that point. I think that's what makes them great, and I think that's what made them front runners, in my opinion, to this new wave of thrash metal. Like, if you took the big four from thrash, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, and you made a big four of new wave of thrash metal, Municipal Waste would be in that big four of new wave of thrash metal. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know who you would put under that. I think that you could put Havoc in that big four. I think you could put who else could you put in there? You could put Toxic Holocaust in there as well, I think. You could also put in who else? Who else we got? I'm drawing blanks because there's so many bands running through my head right now that I can't even choose. But for those three, for sure, you got Havoc, Toxic Holocaust, and Municipal Waste. Warbringer's another great one. Yes, Warbringer's great. Um, but I think Lich King, I think Lich King is more comical, if anything. Power Trip, I do like Power Trip. Ex Mortis, yep, yes. These are all great bands. But if let me pose the question to you this way: if you had to pick the big four of the new wave of thrash metal, what would be your list? That's my question, I think. And I think for me, Municipal Waste has to be there, Havoc has to be there, and Toxic Holocaust has to be there for sure. Those three are for sure, but now I need another band to throw in there. It's definitely tough. Um, it's like who do you choose? It's a tough spot. You gotta all fight for it. Iron Reagan. Iron Reagan is basically Municipal Waste to me. Dust Bolt. I've never heard of Dust Bolt. Now I gotta check them out. So now there's three bands I gotta check out. See, like, this is why I like talking to you guys, because you guys throw suggestions at me, and that's great. I love that. I want more suggestions. I want to dive more into the stuff. More than I already know, if that's even possible. I know a lot of bands, but I think that's the great thing about metal, is that you think you know a lot, and you realize that you don't know hardly any of it. You know what I mean? There's still so much to find out, and so many bands to find, so many songs to hear, and that's what I think is great about metal. There's a lot of variety and a lot of things that are undiscovered. Havoc, Municipal Waste, Death Angel, and Warbringer. Did you watch Lords of Chaos? No, no, I haven't seen Lords of Chaos. I don't even know what that is. What is that? Lords is a um they call me, ignorant to the fact that I don't know what Lords of Chaos is. I have no idea. Dust Bolt, Awake the Riot. Okay, now I need a piece of paper or something. Dust Bolt. I was doing homework before this, which is why I started late. So good thing I have paper. I'm gonna write all over my math homework. So Dust Bolt. I'm gonna look that up. Phantom Witch. See, these are great. These are great. Phantom Witch. I ran into you at Disney. Oh yeah, that's right. I did run into you at Disney. If you guys ever see me out in public anywhere, just don't be like. I want you guys to come up and say hi. I dig that because we could talk about metal or whatever. I'm always looking for new friends to have and new people to meet. It's a black metal movie about mayhem, but it's very inaccurate. Okay. Uh, Lords of Chaos biopic Norwegian black metal. Okay. Maybe that's why I haven't seen it. I'm not a. You should check out Metallica. Oh yeah, never heard of that band before. Yeah, I think maybe why I haven't seen it is just because I'm not interested in Norwegian black metal that much. I just don't care for it, save for Mayhem because I think Mayhem is just the only decent one. But as far as like the rest of Norwegian, but I just don't care for it too much. It's not my thing. It's I don't I mean I sound like those people who just who stereotype metal, but I just don't understand it. I don't understand the the way it's Hellhammer. Yeah, see now okay, yeah, now stuff like that, Bathory, Hellhammer, Celtic Frost. See, now all those bands to me are fine. I can listen to them. I like those bands. But when it gets to like, Dark Throne and Gorgoroth, that's where I start to lose interest. I don't care for that. I'm Burzum. I just don't understand the music. I've never understood it. That's just my personal opinion, it's just to me, I just don't get it. It's something that um I don't listen to, I guess. Immortal, yeah, okay. Immortal, okay, yeah, no, Immortal's another one, I guess, yeah. Because I do like them. Immortal would be another one. But, I think just to me Norwegian black metal is just I don't know. It's just a genre I don't appreciate. Yeah, see, I don't yeah, Emperor, yeah, see, I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to Emperor. I have a Dark Throne song on Rocksmith. Dissection Incubate. Yeah, see, I don't know. Norwegian black metal to me is just it's not my thing. I personally don't like it. It's just my own personal opinion. I'd rather listen to stuff like Judas Priest or stuff like Creator or something like that. You know, it's just my opinion. I mean, I get there's a oh, Midnight is good. I like Midnight. They remind me of like a black thrash metal or something. Well, like you said, like black speed or something like that. It's like black thrash metalcore. Well, it depends what bands you're gonna classify as metalcore. See, I personally like power metal, yes. Rhapsody of Fire, yeah. Metalcore can be good. I agree. I think what I saw of Mice and Men, um, oh, Killswitch Engage. I love them. I really want to see them live. Killswitch Engage is a great band. I saw of Mice and Men in 2015 at Rock in Rio in Las Vegas, and oh, Trivium is great. Trivium reminds me of middle school. I used to listen to Trivium a lot, and and so yeah, I saw Mice and Men, and I think I went into when I saw Mice and Men live, I didn't particularly care for them, but there were some songs that I did like, and I was always like in this mindset of like of Mice and Men. It's like it's metal for the mainstream, or it's like metal for, it's like family metal. Like that's how I'll call it. It's family metal. It's metal for everyone. Like, you know what I mean? Uh, and and the more that I listen to Of Mice and Men, the more I appreciate what they do, and the more I appreciate what that genre is about. Like like for example, Killswitch Engage. I've always loved Killswitch Engage, but there's people out there who are like, "Oh, Killswitch Engage is like, you know, they're that's metalcore and it's not real metal," and it's like, or Trivium, and it's just like, how Trivium has Trivium has gone from, before old Trivium is drastically different from new Trivium, where Trivium now has more of a commercial sound. Before that, Trivium would like, they would, I mean, I know they constantly like, they do the screams in their newer stuff, but back then it was like every song was like screaming and all that stuff. But, I think Trivium has evolved in their sound to sound more of like a more mainstream, and I think that that's okay, and I don't blame them for it at all. Um, oh, In Flames is great. Lamb of God is great. Lamb of God is probably one of the better if not one of the best metal bands out there today, and have been out there. If I think, um, to me, if Pantera took Metallica's torch and saved it in the 90s, I think you have to give the torch to bands like Lamb of God and System of a Down in the newer modern age. As far as metal overall, who's the most important? It's got to be System and Lamb of God, and and bands like that, because they've really saved heavy metal again. They've been like those. They've been, oh, and Slipknot. You can't forget about Slipknot. Thank you for reminding me. It's just those bands have taken, every decade, to me there's always a band that comes and redefines what metal's about. And Black Sabbath started it. It was Metallica in the 80s. Before Metallica, it was Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. It's all these important bands have come at a time where they've redefined what metal was. Pantera was the 90s when grunge started to kick in, and then Pantera said, "No, we're going to keep, metal, this is, we're not going to follow grunge. As I like grunge, but as far as metal is concerned, Pantera said, "No, this is, we're metal. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to go grunge. We're going to save heavy metal," because it was dying. Thrash metal was dying off and glam metal had died off. So Pantera really came in and stepped in and took metal and brought it into a whole nother level. Excuse me. And then, um, remember when Pantera was glam? Yes, I do. And honestly, they were a great glam band. um, but as far as like bands, when it comes to 2000 and stuff, when it comes to the 2000s, you got to give like bands like Lamb of God and Slipknot especially, and System of a Down their credit, because they took metal and brought it to another level. And even on some level, I'm going to throw him in there, Marilyn Manson. And I'm not a big fan of Marilyn Manson's music. I like some stuff. I But I can see that he took the stage and show aspect and brought it to a new level. Like if Alice Cooper was the shock jock of his generation, and he was slicing his head off on stage and playing with snakes and what have you on stage, then Marilyn Manson took that and brought it to a new level. He brought it way beyond what it was. um, what do you think of Tenacious D? I love Tenacious D. I've loved them since I found out about their HBO show. And then I saw Pick of Destiny, and I would watch Pick of Destiny like 10 times in a day, and I knew the entire movie line by line, front to back. I knew it. I knew every line. All I knew all the words to the songs. I loved Tenacious D. But I did not see them live. I'm sad to say that I did not get to see them live for sure. Um, I couldn't afford it at the time. Thoughts on Death Clock? I love Death Clock. It's sad to say, but Death Clock is a lot. Death Clock is a lot better than most metal bands out there right now, and they're fictional. They're cartoons, and I think they're great. And um, I think my favorite Death Clock song is Duncan Hill's Coffee Jingle, and that's not even officially on an album. It's just more of like an episodes, um, or in one episode, I think. And then I like Mermaider. I think that's a great song. Laser Cannon Death Sentence is great. Bambi in the background. Where's Bambi? Where do you see Bambi at? You see him right there. Where is he? Or am I I'm watching YouTube videos and stuff. Yeah, I well honestly, stoked to see Lamb of God. Yeah, I personally heard. Now don't take this with take this with a grain of salt. Don't take it as fact. But I heard, this is just a rumor. I heard that concerts were were canceled or postponed till October of 2021. That's what I heard. It's a rumor. I'm not exactly sure if it's true or based in fact, so don't take it as fact. That's just what I personally heard. I hope that's not true at all because that would be devastating. Because and it would really hurt the concert. That's impossible. Yeah, I agree. It's impossible. I think that the concert scene would suffer, and that goes for all, and not just metal. It goes for everything. It goes for festivals, all that stuff. Excuse me. It goes for everything. Rip movie theaters. I heard that AMC uh, was going out of business or something, or not going out of business, but they weren't doing very well because everyone hasn't been going to the movies. Thoughts on Voivod? They're very underrated. In my cassette collection, I was talking about Killing Technology because I have it on cassette, and I really think Voivod's very underrated. I want the NFL back. I want baseball back. I need the Dodgers to be playing right now. Alice in Chains. I love Alice in Chains. I think Lane Staley is a very big vocal inspiration on myself besides Halford and Robert Plant. I need basketball. Yeah, I would say my cousin is the same way. They want basketball. Everyone wants basketball. I want life back. Yeah, we all do. I mean, we're doing the best we can. I think. Thoughts on Warlock? I think Doro is great. She's a great vocalist. Uh, Favorite horror movie? That's tough. This is one of them behind me right there. Exorcist. Halloween. Creep Show is another one. I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not the remakes, because the remakes are horrible. How are you holding up in this quarantine? I'm doing good. I mean, I pretty much have my normal life somewhat. I still go to work. Um, and I still do like my normal thing. I wear a mask at work and all that stuff. Um, but for the most part, my daily life hasn't really changed, save for the fact that I take school online and stuff. But that's about it. Um, all right. Getting off track here. Actually, you know what? I'm recording on my phone. I should probably plug in my phone. Give me 1 second. Sorry guys, my phone's like at 20% and I'm like doing the live stream on my phone. So let me plug it in for a second so it can charge up. Or else we're gonna lose the stream and we'll never know who's the winner of the patches. Okay. Yes, trust. Okay. Thoughts on MOD? MOD's a great thrash band. I think they're great. Okay, well, let's move on to the next question. So we can get through this, we get these bad boys a winner. All right. Um, all right, so Destruction TV, I see you in the chat as well. Hey man, love the channel. What's your favorite death metal band? And will you ever do a Brutal Legend playthrough on your gaming channel? Um, I did have Brutal Legend for Xbox 360. I since don't have one, so I would have to look into getting Brutal Legend again. Um, by the way, shout out to my gaming channel, which um, I've kind of been active on, but not really. I know tomorrow I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch because in this game Fallout. I don't know if a lot of you guys know what Fallout is, but I play Fallout 76 a lot. I know that a lot of people would say that that game is trash, but I actually like it. I like Fallout as a franchise, and I think Fallout 76, while it's not great, it's a Fallout game, and I like it, and it's multiplayer, and I like that aspect. And Sabbath, Ozzy or Dio? Ozzy, always. I love Dio Sabbath, but Ozzy's the only Sabbath singer. Um, yeah, we're gonna be here for 2 days. Yeah, I agree. Um, but anyways, so I'm gonna be streaming. There's a new DLC tomorrow for Fallout 76, and I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch. So if you guys want to check that out tomorrow, I'm gonna be streaming at 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon Pacific time. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead. Like I said, I have a gaming channel. If you guys want to go over there and check it out, it's something different from this channel, but I think it's different in a great way. It's in a good way, I think. But so what's my favorite death metal band? Um, I think my favorite death metal band has got to be Death, of course. I think Death is my favorite death metal band because Death really showed if and a lot of people will say Possessed is the first death metal band, and to some degree you can say that they are, but I think if Possessed started it, then Death perfected it, and Death was like, we are the first death metal band, we're showing everyone how to do it and what death metal is and what it sounds like, what it should be like. And this they take Scream Bloody Gore and then just there's death metal, there you go, that's all it is. Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy, take those, death metal, there you go. So I think that's why Macabre is technically the first death metal band. Yeah, and again, this is all subjective. I think that when you're talking about pioneers of any genre, um, it's subjective. Like some people will argue Led Zeppelin's the first metal band. Some people will say Black Sabbath is the first metal band, which is true. Okay, let's not get it twisted. You know, I think okay, maybe that's a bad example because when you think about it, Black Sabbath is the first metal band. You know, but when it comes to thrash, like who started thrash metal? Is it Metallica or was it Anvil? Anvil was doing fast stuff before Metallica was even a big thing. Before Metallica released Kill 'Em All, you had Anvil doing, speed, and then Motorhead had that as well. Then you had Venom doing fast stuff. So it's like who really pioneered thrash? Oh, Stone Cold Crazy, yeah. You had Queen over there, like blowing everyone's heads off. Um, but yeah, so I think it's again all suggestive. It's or subjective. I mean, it's like to me, death is the epitome of death metal. It's like you take death and that's death metal, and everyone else after that follows their rules. I think that that Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy are the two foundations of death metal, and I think every death metal band after that took something from those two records and said this is what we need to do and this is what it should be, and we're just gonna take an influence or two from these two albums and make it our own. That's what I think happened because thrash bands took Kill 'Em All from Metallica and made it their own, I think. So that's my favorite death metal band. So Ricardo Salcido, my man, my buddy, you asked what was your memorable concert. So I think I got that question asked already. I hopefully answered it when I was talking about the Metal Alliance tour. If you were here for that, when I saw Anthrax, so that was my most memorable concert for plenty of reasons. All right, so we have Mac here. What are your dream/slash most wanted patches and shirts? There are a lot of patches that I want, and some shirts. The shirts I want, I have two of them that I actually was wanting for a while. I have two of them right here. show you guys. This is one that I was wanting for a long time. This is Metallica on the Black Album, or Wherever I May Roam tour. And here's the back. This is this is like legit, straight up vintage for sure. This isn't like a reboot or reprint or anything. This is like the real thing. And this is one that I was wanting for a long time, and I finally got it. And then this one as well. However, this one is a reprint though. In my cassette collection, I was talking about how I got the Injustice for All reissues, and it came with a shirt. Well, this was the shirt. It was the reprint of this one right here. This is a classic design, and on the back it has this. So that was those were the two that I was really wanting. A lot of other ones that I want are like a lot of the vintage ones. There's a Rob Zombie shirt that I want. That is from the 90s that I'm really trying to get. Are you still trying to get the Red Blind in Texas? I was, but then I got, I got this one instead. I'll settle for the black border one just because it's, I have this one. Excuse me. I still want the red border one just because the red border one looks really cool. But for now, that one will do because it's Blind in Texas. It's like my favorite Wasp song ever. So I'm just glad I have a patch of it. And then as far as the green border Master of Puppets, I'm pretty much giving up on that because I know I'll never have it. Just like I know I'll never have the Creeping Death patch. I think those two Metallica patches are the two grails for me that I really want as far as Metallica goes, is Creeping Death and Master Puppets Green Border for sure. Those two are my grails as far as Metallica goes. Like those, if I had those two, I would probably stop collecting Metallica patches because those, there'd be no point in trying to go after all the other ones because those are like the two grails to me. And everyone wants like the Jump in the Fire stripe. I don't really think that patch is that great. Coming from me, a Metallica fan, you would think that I'd want that one, along with all the other ones, but I personally don't think that it's that great of a patch. But yeah, for sure, Creeping Death and Master of Puppets are for sure two most wanted ones. All right. Metal Matt asks, how did you feel when they canceled opening day? I was crushed. I was like, now it's getting real. When you cancel, not just baseball but all of sports, and then you had Disneyland close, and it's like, okay, it's serious. Now it's real. Before that I was just like, okay, it's it's bad, but I hope it doesn't get, bad to this point, and it did, and I was just like, wow, well, here we go. It's really real. And I was just like, man, it's really disappointing that we can't, we're not living in a time right now where things are, where we can escape to certain things. Like we all have our escapes. And when something's going on in the world, what do people turn to? They turn to sports and music and or each other. And right now we've lost two of those things. We've lost sports and we've lost the ability to hang out with each other. And I think that when it comes to music, this is why also metal is important because, or just music in general, any type of music, people can get lost in music and forget what's going on in the world for at least, 5-minute song, or if you want to listen to an entire playlist, you get like a good like hour, 20 minutes maybe, half an hour, whatever, however long you want. The people can get lost in those songs and that music, and I think that's why music is great. It's better than any sport to me, and better than to me, I would rather be in my room listening to a record, feeling great about myself than to be out in public around people. I guess that's just the introvert in me because I'm very introverted. I'm really shy. And I would personally just love to just be in my room listening to records or music or whatever, and feeling great about it and getting lost in my own mind and thoughts, than to be out and socialize, I guess, for a lack of a better word. Even though it's good for us to socialize, it's good for us to get out there, but if it was my preference, I would personally stay home. Yeah, home versus yeah, home over outside. Yeah, I totally agree. My girlfriend would disagree. My girlfriend loves to go out places and she can't stand being at home all the time. But um that's, I think, me and her clash in that regard, that I'm very like, I want to stay home and watch a movie or play video games or listen to music or do home activities or play games like board games and stuff, and she would rather go out to see new things and uh, go different places and stuff. And I do that too. And we do, stay home and like we watch movies and stuff like that. But I know that this time for her is very hard because she gets bored at home very easily, and I know that she wants to go out and do things. And honestly, this whole quarantine thing has made me like appreciate us going to do stuff. Like now when this whole thing is over, I'm going to be the one to be like, let's go here, or let's go there. Like let's go do something, because we were just basically trapped for months in our houses, or going to and from work, you know what I mean? So, I think that, like, when they canceled MLB, I was like, okay, it's real. Like, it's real, and we're going to be in this for a while, but we have to understand, it's for the best that we do this. And the more people actually follow these rules and guidelines, the faster we'll get all these things back. It won't be back to normal the way it was before all this happened, for sure. It's going to be, it's going to be different, but at least we'll have a sense of normalcy, of return to normalcy after this whole thing, you know? So that's how I feel about it. All right, I'm going to move on to the next question. We are we're going to move through these kind of quick now, I think. Hopefully. Why'd you take down all the posters? Well, when I moved, I took down all the posters. This is a new room and all that stuff. I don't think I've ever showed you guys this new room or anything, but I moved and this is like my new room and stuff. So, um, I basically had to take everything down off of the old wall, which was a pain in the ass to do. But um, I still have like all the pictures and stuff. Some are like they're just kind of scattered everywhere in different places, like put away. But I still have them all. I have all my posters and stuff. Um, but for the most part, I have my graduation ceremony and prom is canceled. Yeah, I think that being in school like during this time is, as far as high school and stuff, like it's definitely tough. Uh, prom is stupid. Yeah, I had the same mentality as well. I thought prom was, back then when I was in high school, I was just like, I don't want to deal with homecoming or football games or stupid stuff like that at all. Um, do I still have the Sepultura schizophrenia back? Yes, I do. It's somewhere put away. It's not that big. It's like a decent size, but I mainly put it up just because it's a cool picture. But yeah, I still have it. It's put away somewhere. Um, but yeah, I think it's definitely a hard time right now for high school people, because, or students, because um, they miss out on a lot of, things that are not essential, but that are memories that you can have, at least, for a high school. Like, I didn't go to my prom because, first of all, where I went to school, I went first to a I went first to, like, your standard high school, and then I was a really bad student. I really just didn't care for school. I had this mentality back then where I was just like, I don't need it. I'm gonna become a great vocalist and I'm gonna make my money that way, and I don't need school. But I just I really messed up in school, and I can look back now and say, I screwed myself over. You know what I mean? I really messed up, and I wish that I had fixed it then and realized it then instead of realizing it now. But anyway, so I got kicked out of that high school and then went to another school, as a continuation school. And I don't think they had a prom there at the continuation school, so I didn't even have one. Not that I cared back then anyway. I probably wouldn't have gone, but just to like miss out, like to see like people miss out on such a highlight for a lot of people in high school is kind of a bummer, especially like now with this whole virus thing. It's kind of a bummer to see highlights from high school, like homecoming and prom and stuff being canceled and what have you. It's kind of tough on like high school students now, where they won't get to have that. Like, in years from now when they're older, they're going to say, why didn't you have a prom? And they're going to say, well, this was going on and this was going on. You know what I mean? I can't see my crush anymore. That's a bummer. You can always go on their social media and try to talk to them there if you want to try that. Connect to them that way. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. It's a tough situation we're in right now. All right. So, Psycho John Slaughter asks, "What are your most favorite extreme metal albums?" Well, extreme metal is a broad term, I think. That can classify a whole list of genres. That could classify black metal, Norwegian black metal, death metal. It just depends on what kind of genre you're talking about. I think Altars of Madness is a great album of mine that I would personally go to. Leprosy, basically anything by Death. I love Death. They're just like fantastic. I love Slowly We Rot by Obituary, Cause of Death. Another one I like is um, Consuming Impulse by Pestilence. So it's just very broad as far as extreme metal. Like what really defines extreme metal? There's a bunch of subgenres under that. I'm just listing some that are just coming into my head right now. But I have a lot of just favorite ones. Like I guess could you classify Creator under extreme metal? Because that's kind of extreme. Sodom. We can go like black and thrash. We can go some thrash metal. It just depends what you're talking about. Um, I really like Pleasure to Kill. I like Agent Orange, Release from Agony, from Destruction. Those are all like great albums that you could consider extreme metal, but all fit under their own specific genre, thrash, black thrash, or whatever, death metal, whatever it is. But it's all classified under extreme metal, I think. All right. Next question is Clara. They ask best live band you've seen, and which bands do you still want to see live? Uh, oh, Persecution Mania is a great album. I have the patch. It's a great album. I love that album. The best band I've seen live is hands down Iron Maiden. Um, I love Metallica, and I think they put on a fantastic show, and I love all the bands I've seen live, but I think hands down Iron Maiden puts on the best show I've seen, and I've seen Iron Maiden 3 times, and every time I've seen Iron Maiden, I've been blown away. Um, and I saw Iron Maiden on the same tour. It was on the book. I saw the Book of Souls tour twice, and I was blown away both times, like as if I had just seen it for the first time. And I think that Iron Maiden just puts on like the best live show I've seen, in person anyway. Because there are other bands that put on great shows that I've seen on YouTube and stuff, but as far as in person goes, Iron Maiden has to be the best. My first pit was Iron Maiden. Um, I I've seen people mosh to Maiden, and I don't I don't know. I don't know how you can mosh to Iron Maiden. I I wouldn't. I think they're more of like, your standard headbanging metal band, but I've seen people mosh to Maiden and do circle pits and all that stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how I don't know why. I think they're more headbanging to me. They're more of like a traditional metal, like Judas Priest, like you're just headbanging and stuff. But I mean, you know, and I love mosh pits. Don't get me wrong. I just don't understand how someone can mosh to Iron. I don't think. don't see Iron Maiden as a band to mosh to. I see them more of a band to sing along with and enjoy the visuals of the show and headbang to it. Now, and I'm talking about, and now I'm just talking about bands I've seen live too, because Kiss, they put on like a they put on a circus of a show, and I think that, I if somebody heard me saying that um, Iron Maiden puts on the best live show hands down, I think that people would call me crazy because they'd be like, Kiss puts on the greatest live show ever. They have things exploding and stuff. My favorite Kiss album is the first one. There's nothing that can beat the first Kiss album as far as I'm concerned. Is in their entire discography. I think that the first one is the most classic and the one that most defined the band as to what they are. Um, but I do like Rock and Roll Over. I have that one on vinyl. It's an original, but I think hands down the first Kiss album is by far the best and the most superior Kiss album for sure. And which bands do I still want to see live? There's tons. I want to see System. I want to see Slipknot. I want to see Iron Maiden again. I want to see Judas Priest. I want to see Megadeth. I could have almost seen Megadeth this year, but I didn't. I want to see Metallica again. I want to see. There's. I've always wanted to go to Walk-In Festival. Always. I've always wanted to go there. I've always wanted to go to Hellfest as well. Never gotten to go to Hellfest, never gotten to go to Walk-In just because they're international. I've never had the money to fly over there, do anything like that. Um, but I've definitely wanted to go to those two festivals. I'm making it a goal in my lifetime that I will go to Hellfest and I will go to Walk-In Festival because those are two festivals that I've always wanted to go to and see all those bands. The bills on those two festivals are always stacked with fantastic bands, you know? I think that nothing can beat Walk-In and Hellfest bookings ever. Oh, and download, but you can argue that download sometimes is even, when you see download festival, it's kind of, sometimes it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's like, hey, that's a great lineup, or sometimes it's like, oh, it's just an okay lineup. But for sure, Walk-In and Hellfest always have the best lineups, always. There never fails. And then Clara also asked, "Do I play guitar? Would you be interested in learning?" I play a little bit of guitar. I have two electrics and two acoustics. You can see them. These are my two acoustics, like right there. You can see the head of them. Um, but I do know how to play. I wouldn't consider myself a great guitar player or even a good one. I think you can call me mediocre at best. But yeah, I sort of know how to play guitar, sort of, not really. I focus myself more on vocals and focus myself more on drumming because I like to drum a lot. Um, if I had a drum kit, I would probably do drum covers instead of vocal covers because that's just how much I enjoy playing the drums so much. Um, but yeah, I do play guitar. I'm just not that great at it. Okay. Xavier Gomez asked, "Do you ever watch your first videos from the very beginning of your channel? And if so, what do you think about them now?" I do watch my old videos just for the fact of how embarrassing they are. I think that they're really embarrassing. And I try not to watch my vocal covers just because I think I personally don't like my vocal covers that much. I think that back then I mean, when I started recording vocal covers, I didn't know anything about singing. I had no clue. Like, I had no idea what to do with my voice. I wouldn't even do any vocal warm-ups for like hardly any of my covers. And sometimes I would record 4 covers in a day and my voice would be completely shot after like my last cover, and some of those would Sea of Madness. Yeah, that was my very first one. And I watched that entire video before I uploaded it and I was like, it's not great, but it'll do. It's gonna do because that's the best I'm gonna get today. And sometimes those were the vocal covers that I would do. Like I would upload it and be like, you know what, that's the best. Because sometimes I would record more than one take. I would sing the same song. Um, I would sing the same song probably 4 times, maybe a little more. Maybe sometimes it took less time, and sometimes it took more times. But I would never get it on the first take ever. I would never do. I would It would never happen. Never get it on the first take. Um, but like my painkiller one, I think my most popular vocal cover. Uh, Oops, sorry. I think my most popular vocal cover on this channel is Painkiller, and I think I recorded Painkiller 3 times before I put the one up that's up right now. And even then, I still like I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't like watching my vocal covers, and as far as my old videos go, I don't really like. I watch them more for the laughing factor, as to just like how ridiculous I look and sound, and I was really camera shy back then, and to some extent I still am. But back then I was really like, I don't know what to say, what to do, how am I supposed to? What if nobody cares about what I'm uploading? Or like my very first battle jacket video I shot with my old flip phone, and it's like the most horrendous. It's like lower than 240p. Like that's the quality. Like it's just horrendous quality, and it was the reason it's a minute long. I wanted to go longer, but the reason it was a minute long was because my phone could only record a minute and then it would stop, and I didn't know anything about video editing, so I couldn't edit clips together even if I wanted to. And it was just the most horrendous like piece of crap video that I was just like, I'm just going to film my jacket. Why not? I think it's cool and I'm going to put it up. You know what I mean? So, and I did that, and I uploaded it, and I was thinking to myself like, what if nobody cares? I'm like, this video is going to get thumbs down to oblivion because it's such a bad quality video, and I'm only showing like you can barely see anything, you can't really tell what's what. um it's just funny. And then when I first showed my face in a video, I was like thinking to myself like, what am I doing, like and then I had a Vans hat on because I was like, I had like really messy hair, and I was like, I can't find a hat, and that hat was too small for me, so it was really tight around my head. And I was just like, what am I doing with my life right here? Like, what am I gonna do with these videos? But I stuck to it. Just I don't know. I just there was just something in me. It was just like, I'm just gonna make these updates, and whoever wants to watch them, watch them. I feel like great about uploading videos and uploading, patch updates and stuff. And if people don't like it, then my videos will get thumbs down, and I'll just leave YouTube after that. Or it could go either way. It could get thumbs down to oblivion and I stop, or it can be something that will people will find somewhat interesting, and I'll keep doing it. And I think I think more people found it interesting. I think. Um, and I think it's just because there's so many battle jacket videos on YouTube, and it's interesting to see battle jacket videos because it's just interesting to see everyone's style, and it's interesting to see what people do with their vest, and what um what how they go about it. My sewing tutorial. I hate the sewing tutorial video is one of the videos that I despise the most for myself, because I had no idea how I was gonna do it, and I was too embarrassed to ask somebody to film for me, because they'd be like, "What are you doing that for? Like, why do you want to upload to YouTube? Like, what are you doing?" So I filmed it myself, and I would film with one hand and try to do everything else with the other hand, because I had no camera stand and I had nobody to film me doing it. And I think that that's one of the most horrendous videos I've ever made. That one and the patch update. I not the patch update, the patch tutorial, how to make your own patches, and I think that those two videos are the worst that I've made for sure. Besides my vocal covers, your sewing video taught me how to sew. Well, that see now that's great, and that makes me like somewhat positive about it, and um, I just feel like I could have done a way better job with it. That I could have done like knowing, looking back on it now, um, looking back on that video now, I for sure could have made it better, and I for sure could have went into a lot more detail. I could have shown you guys what how to tie off the back because um, you know, I don't know how to tie it off. I kind of just overlap the the thread on the last stitch that I do just to lock it in place. I don't tie it. And I know I gotten a lot of questions on, oh, how do you tie it off? Like, how do you tie the thing? And my my uh my response to those questions are, I don't know. I have no idea. You're gonna have to figure that out because I don't know how to tie it off. But um, yeah, we need a video about how to wear bullet belts. I overlap it 3 times and cut it off. That's what I do. I just overlap it. Yeah, bullet. I still have my bullet belt. I don't wear it at all because it's kind of hard to wear bullet belts places now because of just uh, how society works now. And it was even hard to wear it before, but now more than ever, it's just harder to wear bullet belts. So I haven't worn my bullet belt in years, and I was thinking about selling it because it's just kind of sitting there like forgotten. And I was like, I kind of want to sell it, but at the same time, I don't want to sell it because it's kind of like a memory for me. It's just like, I first got this, and like I want to be able to show my kids and be like, yeah, look what I have. This is what I used to wear. Do I point the bullets up? They point down. I always point the bullets down. Where'd you get your Misfits tattoo? Oh, this one? Yeah, this one. This was my very first tattoo that I ever got. As soon as I turned 18, I got it. I got it on the day I turned 18. And I had to show the guy my ID because he didn't believe it was my birthday and that I was 18. And I showed the guy and he was like, "All right, get in the chair." And so I was like, "Yep, this is what I'm getting." This was always going to be my very first tattoo from the moment I was like, I want a tattoo. I knew this was be my first one. And um, this was not only because I like the Misfits a lot, they're probably one of my favorite bands, but it was indeed for Cliff Burton because Metallica is my favorite band of all time and I love Cliff and I was like, this is what I'm getting it for. It's to represent Cliff and represent one of my favorite bands. Um, but yeah, that was my very first tattoo, and I've always wanted that since I was in like the 6th grade. I said as soon as I'm old enough to get a tattoo, the Misfits is my first one for sure. There's no question. So yeah, that's a little about the tattoo. So yeah, that's about my videos and stuff. I can't stand my own videos, but I watch them for a good laugh, and I also watch them to see what I did wrong and what I can do to improve upon what I didn't do in other videos that I can now apply to my newer ones. And I feel like I've gotten a little more comfortable in front of the camera. I don't know. I still feel like I'm like weird and awkward, but that's just how I am as a person. I'm just like a weird person and awkward and silent. All right. Violent Legacy said, "What are the best mosh pits you've ever been in, and what's your view on it?" Um, so the best mosh pit I've been in was this goes again back to the Metal Alliance tour. Those were some of the funnest mosh pits that I was ever in, and it was because I was with all my friends. Like I said, I was with a lot of my friends during Municipal Waste set. The entire floor was just this huge just chaotic environment where if you were there was not a spot on the floor where you were standing still. Everything, you were constantly in motion, constantly getting shoved and pushed and like bumped into and like punched somehow, and it's just like it was just a chaotic environment, and it was it was definitely a fun mosh pit to be during Municipal Waste and Anthrax when they played Indians and Scott Ian during Indians when Scott Ian yelled war dance, the whole floor erupted into like this like sea of people just slamming into each other, and just, it was like chaos and madness, and it was great. I thought it was really fun, and I came out of that concert like really sore the next day, and I was just like, man, like that was probably the best show and pit and like madness that I've ever endured. It was really fun, and I think that for sure, um, that those were definitely the best pits that I've been in. And my view on moshing is, it's not for everyone. I know people who don't mosh and they'd rather headbang, and sometimes I'm like that. Like I would prefer not to mosh sometimes. It just depends on how I feel. It just depends on the song where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is a song that you need to mosh to. Or it's like, yeah, there's pits going on, but I'd rather not go in it right now. It just depends. It all depends on the person. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people think like, why would you go in there purposely hurting each other? And it's not really about that. It's about, to me, the pit and just concerts in general are about getting out emotion. It's about um, releasing your emotions that you can't release on a regular basis. And I think pits and concerts do that. Like when you get out of a concert and you've moshed or you've headbanged or you've yelled and sang and whatever, stage dove or crowd surfed or whatever, you come out of there feeling great. Like you just went to like a year's worth of therapy in 2 hours. That's how it feels to me. And that's what I think makes, concerts and shows of any genre great, especially moshing, is just because you feel like that need to release feelings that are pent up that you can't release on a regular basis, and that's why I think, moshing is, it's okay. You're not going in there with the intent to bash someone in the head on purpose. I mean, oh well, some people might. I mean, idiots might, but you go in there looking to release aggression and release those emotions and feelings that you can't normally release in your daily life. And you feel great coming. I mean, I personally do. I feel great coming out of a concert. So, um, anyway, so that's that question. I have another question from TRV3Y. Is when did you get into metal? So when I actually officially was like, this is the music for me, I was probably going into the sixth grade. Yeah, that's you. I was going into the sixth grade, and I was like, this is the music for me. And I had always grown up around hard rock, and you could call it metal, like Scorpions and Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen. I grew up around all of that. Um, it was when I first heard Metallica and knew it was Metallica. Cause before that, I would listen. I would, again. I grew up with like Metallica and whatever, but I didn't know it was them. Like I would constantly hear the Black Album being played, because it was my mom's favorite album. She would play that all the time. It'd be like one of the things that she would play a lot besides Guns N' Roses and Scorpions and stuff. Um, and I had heard excuse me, Black Sabbath as well, but I didn't know it was Black Sabbath. But I think when I first heard, when my uncle, he used to live with us, and he gave me a lot of music, and he gave me Ride the Lightning, he gave me Killers from Iron Maiden, and he gave me Slipknot. He gave me the first Slipknot album, and then he gave me the Subliminal Verses album. And I think when I first heard those four, I was like, I'm hooked, and this is what it's going to. This is the music that I want to be a part of. You know, it was like when I first heard Ride the Lightning, I was blown away, and I was just like, this is Metallica, and they were like, yeah, when he told me like, Enter Sandman was Metallica. I didn't know it was them. I just had always heard it. I was just like, oh, that's Metallica. I was like, this is completely different. This is this is nuts compared to Metallica, or the Metallica that I knew, which was the Black Album. And I was like, this is like nuts. This is like another band, right? And he's like, no, this is Metallica. And I was just I heard Red Lightning and I was hooked. And I was just like, this is what I want. This is the genre of music that I'm calling my own, and this is for me, for sure. And it just took over, and from there I just dove into other things. I dove to Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and then I went further with Motorhead, and then I would dive further into more thrash because I found Slayer and Megadeth, and then after that it just exploded into all these bands that I would just figure out on my own. I would just find bands constantly. I would be on YouTube making playlists. I had a thrash playlist that I would just that I added to a little bit, and I would kind of stop. But like when I first heard Violence, I was like, "What is this? This is like, this is like whoever wrote this is a genius. Whoever wrote this album is like a musical genius." When I first heard Eternal Nightmare, I was like blown away, and I was just like, I need to hear more thrash. I need to hear more of this. So I found Exhumer, and then I found Sacred Reich, and then I found all these other thrash metal bands, and I was just hooked right away. And that took years after. And then I remember my friend loaded up my iPod with a bunch of stuff, and he gave me Sodom, and he gave me Destruction, um, he gave me Creator, and he introduced me to the German thrash metal, and I was just like, what is this? Like, that totally changed the game for me after I heard all that stuff. But yeah, it. So what really got me into metal is just hearing Metallica for the first time and knowing it was Metallica. It was a Metallica record. Like, I was like, this is Metallica. And then hearing Killers from Iron Maiden, I was just like, oh, like this is intense. I had never heard anything like that before. I'd never heard Iron Maiden before that. So I was just like, to listen to Killers for the first time and hear that the title track Killers and listen to the bass, I was just like, I, I was like, that's like crazy to me. Like, it was great, and it was just, I was all about it. So, yeah, those were the first hints of me um, going into metal. All right. Journey with Joa asks, any advice on any advice on finding a metalhead friend, and what do you think of making your own patches versus buying them? Finding a metalhead friend, it's I don't really have advice on that. You just connect with who you connect with, and if you really want metalhead friends, just go to concerts, or uh, find we have social media and stuff like that. You can message people, or comment on people's posts and stuff, and get to conversing with them about your interests and what they like. And if a friendship blossoms from that, then so be it. But if it doesn't, then it is what it is. Yeah, that's you. It is what it is. Uh, I mean, I think as metalheads, we all kind of appreciate each other, and we can all agree on the same things. Although we do have differences where we like certain things and we don't like certain things, but we all share the same passion for heavy metal. And I think that's what makes it a little easier, because we all have things in common. And do I like rap music? Yes, I actually do. I like old school rap though. I don't like newer ones. The newer rap to me is just like, I don't care for it. It's not my type of music. It's To me, I think it's saturated rap, and it's boring, and it's the same. It's like the same thing every song. It's dumb. I feel like the new rap nowadays just dumbs people down. It just lowers people's IQ, I think. But the old rap actually had a message and had something to say. The old rap actually had a meaning behind it. NWA, Public Enemy, stuff groups like that actually had a message to get across in their music, and they were generally full of emotion and meaning. Whereas now it has no meaning. It's just saturated. Who can make the sickest beat, and who can drone on the longest about whatever, who can mumble the most, you know um, I think that's just, it's become a joke. And it's definitely changed into a genre that is definitely a joke of what it used to be. Um, but anyways, and what do I think about making my own patches versus buying them? Well, one's cheaper and one's more expensive if you want to look at it that way. Um, I think if you want great quality patches, like woven patches or whatever, then you should buy them. If you don't mind the DIY aspect and you can, you like doing crafts and you want to make something that's very personal to you, and then by all means make your own patches. I see benefits in both of them, and I see cons in both of them. One, making your own patches, they tend to wear down a lot faster. But buying patches, you're spending a lot of money because let me tell you, patch collecting and patch hunting and stuff, you can spend a lot of money on it. I think I bought my consuming impulse. I was in a bidding war for that and I paid like almost $50 for it. Um, it was worth it in the end, but I mean, I've definitely spent a lot of money on patches. More than I more than I would like to admit. I've spent a lot on patches over the years, but I mean, and a lot of those patches I've sold or traded or still have, and it's a very expensive hobby. But what hobby, if we think about it, what hobby isn't expensive? So so yeah, that was a good question. I like that. All right. Metal Matt asks, "What's your oldest but your favorite record that you have in my that I have Oh no, sorry. What's your oldest but your favorite record you have in your collection, and when did you start your first battle vest?" So, my oldest record, I actually don't know what my oldest record is. I have a lot of originals. I have, my Ride the Lightning one's pretty old. It's from 1984, which is the first. It's the first press, and then I have Master of Puppets, which is also first press from 1986. Um, I have I'm not exactly sure. I think I'd have to go through my records and actually see which one, um, and actually go through and see which ones are the oldest. So I'm not exactly sure. And then my first battle vest I started in like the sixth grade, which was when I told you I had the one back patch and then the two patches on the shoulder. So it was around there where I started my first. It was this one right here. I started this one, and that one had just evolved and it blew up and became what it is today, I guess. Right. This person's name is K with like this thing, this emoji. If you could choose one band member from any band to hang out with, and for one day, who would it be? Now this isn't bringing anyone back for like just musical purposes. This is to hang out with. Uh, that's tough. Lemmy would be fun to hang out with for sure. Cliff would be fun to hang out with. Who else would be fun to hang out with? Let's see. I think Dio would be interesting to hang out with because I would just talk to Dio. I think I would. I think I would just if I brought Dio back and hung out with him for a day. I think I would just talk, and I'd have like a meaningful conversation with him, and just hear his philosophy on life, because Dio was, to me, one of the smartest guys in interviews. I think Dio is really wise and really smart. Um, but and Lemmy, Lemmy too. Lemmy was very smart, very wise. But I think I would bring Lemmy back for just the fact that it would be interesting to hang out with Lemmy for a day. I think that's who I'm going with. I'm bringing back Lemmy to hang out with for a day. It would definitely be fun. You could drink Jack and Coke and and uh, and play video poker at the Rainbow or whatever, and just hang out and listen to music and chill and do whatever. I think I'd bring back Lemmy. I think a day with Lemmy would be really fun. Um, Xavier Gomez asks, "What was being a metalhead in your teenage years like in SoCal, and to share stories from high school?" Well, I think throughout the stream, I kind of shared what it was like being in high school and stories and stuff. There was one time where at our school we had a battle of the bands, and my friends had a band and they did battle of the bands and they played Creeping Death and Raining Blood. And I remember me and my friends, um, me and my friends were like, okay, when they play Raining Blood, we're gonna mosh, because the school obviously had rules that there were no moshing because it was a, you know, it was a liability. They didn't want people getting hurt and stuff like that. But we were just like, we don't care. We're gonna do it. We're gonna mosh. This is what we're gonna do, and we're planning it. And somehow it spread beyond my metal group, and it spread not only just my metal group, but it spread all around the school, everywhere. That hey, guess what? We're starting a mosh pit during when they play Raining Blood, so be prepared. And we had sports guys in on it. We had everyone was in on it. We had the metal kids. There were, you know, every type of stereotypical clique that you could think of, save for like girls and stuff, was in that pit because everyone knew about it. So they played Creeping Death, and it almost got blown right there because everyone started kind of to mosh during Creeping Death when they played it, and we were like, no, 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 like save it for Raining Blood. So so yeah, my friends who had a band that were in battle bands. They were playing Creeping Death, and we were headbanging and stuff, and they played it, and that was great. And then when they played Raining Blood, as soon as the opening riff kicked in and the drums kicked in, that when they were doing the you know, riff after the main riff where it just breaks into that, you know, excuse me, when it breaks into that one riff, everyone, it was just explosion of people just all moshing. I could hear girls screaming and running, and they were just like, "Oh hell no, I'm out of here!" And it was like a chaotic scene. And when it got to the mosh part where it's just doing that like you know, I think security stopped it right then and there, and people were still moshing. We didn't care. We were still moshing and shoving each other, and security got involved. And I remember a security guard picked up one of my friends, and my friend was still like, yeah, yeah, like doing that. And sorry guys, let me, sorry, I keep getting calls. I'm getting phone calls, but anyway, so yeah, like he was like still getting held onto. um Give me a second, guys, give me 1 minute. Okay, sorry, I had to send a text. um so anyways, like I was saying, so yeah, like my friend was being held by the security guard, and he was still going, yeah, yeah, like that. And I think I heard, um, I heard about like one of my friends like punched one of the security guards in the face. I don't know if that's true, but what I heard. Like he punched some security guard in the face. It was a pretty crazy battle of the bands, and then after that they canceled battle of the bands and they never had it again. So I think we ruined it for them. Um, But yeah, that was a pretty crazy story from high school with dealing with like my metalhead friends and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, so let's go through these questions like that. Well, I'm gonna try to. So Nicholas Fernandez asks, I hope I have a shot to win these patches. Oh, that'd be cool. Hopefully you do, man. I really hope you win, man. I honestly, I hope that all of you win. I wish I could give a patch to each and every one of you, but it's just the way it's gonna go. But anyway, so what is your top 10 favorite new wave of British heavy metal bands? Top 10. This is going to take a while. I'm just going to narrow it down to I'm not going to do like a specific top 10. I can always do a specific top 10 later just to make this video go by a little faster. Um, but new wave of British heavy metal bands that I like: Iron Maiden, early Def Leppard. I mean, I like all Def Leppard, but Def Leppard, when they were new wave of British heavy metal, were great. I like Tigers of Pantang, um, Praying Mantis, Quartz, Diamond Head, Angel Witch. I like Witchfind. I like a lot of new wave British heavy metal bands. I think that genre as a whole is just amazing. I don't think there's one bad band in that genre that I would say they're bad or awful. You know what I mean? I think the new wave of British heavy metal has a lot of great bands that I really love and enjoy, you know? So Thomas Peralta asked, "What was the very first patch you ever put on your battle jacket?" I kind of went over this already when I was talking about my early jacket. I had three. I had the back patch, Metallica with the Satan Anger Fist, and then I had the weird Iron Maiden Killers patch, and then my back patch was Metallica with the guy that was like this. Yep, that's your question, buddy. So yeah, those were my first patches I ever put on that first vest. Okay, Daniel Hernandez asked, "Do you get annoyed when you see someone in a band shirt, but when you ask them about it, they wear it because everyone else does? And what's your honest opinion on posers?" So yeah, I think it is kind of annoying when that happens. Again, this kind of goes back to a question I addressed earlier, where someone asked about the Forever 21 thing, where they sell shirts of bands that people wear for fashion. I think if you're wearing it for a fashion sense and you don't know who the band is, then I think that that's, why would you do that? I think that, wearing stuff just because you think it looks cool is silly, especially with bands. Like um I'm not gonna wear like a Drake shirt just because I think it looks cool. Because I clearly don't like him. I clearly don't want anything to do with him. And I know some people, it says you did. It says 4 days ago. Daniel Hernandez. It says you did, I think. Yeah. It's on the video. I think you can go look, but I see it right here. But anyways, I'll answer it anyway. But what do you call it? Um, so some of that. It's actually almost 7 a.m. here. Greetings from Germany. All right, cool, man. I think you're my first international in this stream from Germany. I don't know if I have any other international subscribers in here, but anyways, yeah. With posers, it's just I don't know it. What really defines a poser to me is that you're just pretending to be something you're not, and that kind of goes not just musically but in anything. You know what I mean? It's it just deals with watching from Florida. It just deals with anything in general. If you're pretending to like something that you don't really like, or just for the sake of being cool, that's a poser. That's to me, it's just like you're posing to be something that you're not, and that's not cool. And you should just be yourself. Um, appreciate who you are and what you like. Don't care about what anyone else thinks. And that's to me, you won't be a poser if you're just yourself, obviously. And so, just, be yourself. That's what I got to say about that. What was the most iconic concert? Asks Pierre. Okay, I can't pronounce the last name. Pierre. It's spelled Kiroule. So what was the most iconic concert? Iconic, probably Iron Maiden. Just because they put on a great show, and seeing Eddie when he comes out on stage is just phenomenal. Um, Thomas Peralta also asks, "What was the inspiration behind your battle jacket?" The inspiration behind my battle jacket was just because I just was like I would always see. It was when I was first getting into this type of music, and I would see, the people or the metalheads that would wear jackets with patches on it, and um, what do you call it when they had the bands of or the patches of the bands that they really liked, and they would represent it. And I'm like, like that's really cool. Like I want to do that too. Like I want to represent the bands that I like, and I want to get a jean jacket and do all that stuff. So that was kind of like the inspiration, just seeing other metalheads like just represent the bands that they liked, and that's why I represented like Metallica and Iron Maiden, because remember those were the first two. Uh, those were really the first two bands besides Slipknot that really like pushed me off into heavy metal. And Killers, of course, had it, the patch, and yeah, that was really my inspiration for making my battle jacket. All right, Tyler McCrackerjacker, I've seen you in the chat. What is your favorite? What is your favorite and least favorite subgenre of metal? So my favorite subgenre of metal by far is thrash metal. I've always loved thrash metal. It's my go-to genre. Every time I want to listen to something metal, I always start with thrash. Every time. Um, and then my least favorite, obviously I've been talking about it, is Norwegian black metal. I don't get it. I can't stand it. It's just, if I had to get rid of it, I would. All right. Zombie asks, what would be your ideal tour lineup? Ideal tour lineup? Now that's tough. Well, I would probably have Metallica headline, just because Metallica is my favorite band. Um, who could go under Metallica? Hmm. Let's see. Metallica. Maybe Metallica Exodus. Uh, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna do like a festival type of lineup. So like one day headlining is Iron Maiden, Judas Priest the next, Metallica the next, and under those three bands you'd have bands like Exodus, Anthrax, who else? Yeah, maybe Motorhead, Venom, um, Death. If Death was around still, I'd probably have Death. Who else? This is tough because there's just so many bands that I would just want to put all on one bill. Um, I don't, I'm just gonna throw bands out there and put them all on one bill. I'm not gonna organize it, so don't get mad at me if I put a band under whoever, because it's not gonna be organized. Metallica for sure the big four, for sure the big three of German thrash, which would be Creator, Destruction, and Sodom. You would have Venom, Motorhead, Tigers of Pantang, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Ozzy by himself, Dio by himself, Rainbow, so Dio could play again with Rainbow, and then who else? Let's see. Did I say Judas Priest already? Yeah. Death, I think I said. Let's have a death metal section. Obituary, Pestilence, Possessed. Who else? Who else? Cannibal Corpse. Early Cannibal Corpse. Let's see. Slayer. Slayer's another great one. Gosh dang it. Can have Motley Crue. We can have a glam part with Motley Crue, Poison, Rat. Uh, what about newer thrash bands? Havoc. Yeah, I think that they, I think that if we could have a festival for a week, we could break each out by like subgenre. Have like a new thrash metal. I skipped my online class for this. Well, I wouldn't advise that just because I'd want your education first. But hey, that makes me happy at least. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. That's a really tough question because it's definitely uh, it's definitely hard to pick a tour lineup for sure. But I think my ideal tour lineup would be like all my influences. I think in all seriousness, it'd be all my influences in one bill: Metallica, Led Zeppelin, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and Death and the Misfits. It'd be like all my influences in one bill, I think. Okay. How many questions do we got left? Oh man. We have a lot, so I'm gonna shoot through these really quickly. I'm gonna try and not elaborate so much on them anymore. I'm gonna just kind of shoot through them really quickly. Okay, so we have Dano GNR88 asks who would win in a fight, Axl Rose or Vince Neil. Depends what uh what version of each you're getting. I think back then, if you pit Vince Neil up against Axl Rose in the '80s, Axl Rose probably would have killed Vince Neil. So there's my answer for that. Um, Frankie Zane asks, "What other genres of music do you listen to besides metal, rock, and punk?" I listen to rap. I listen to some pop. I listen to like your like soft rock or something like or stuff like that. I listen to this guy called Figure. He's a dubstep guy, and I never liked dubstep, but I do enjoy his stuff because it's all horror based. He does music for Halloween Horror Nights. If you guys know what that is, Figure does like the music for Horror Nights, and I really appreciate his style. So those are like kind of the other ones I've seen or listened to. What are the top live bands that you've seen? Metallica and Iron Maiden for sure. Those are the top ones. Zeus asked, how much money do you think you've spent on patches in total? And why do you think that Ride the Lightning is better than Kill 'Em All when Kill 'Em All's the best? Um, I've spent probably thousands on patches. Let's put it that way. I've spent thousands or hundreds. It's for sure hundreds. Maybe not thousands, but for sure hundreds. And Ride the Lightning is just superior in every aspect. It just is. That's just the way it is. It's how it will always be. Let's see. Raximone28 asks, with which band did you start listening to metal? That would be Metallica. Thomas Peralta again asks, what are your favorite patches? I've shown off my favorite patches in this video, so I don't really want to elaborate on that again. I kind of showed them all, or my favorite ones anyway. So I kind of already answered that one, but that's a good question. Angel Malvaez, I think that's how you say your name, asks, what do you think of the first Metal Church record, and what would you say is your favorite thrash band? The first Metal Church record is great. I love it, and my favorite thrash band is, of course, Metallica. Okay, I don't know how to say this person's name. I'm gonna try. Ibtisam Abadi, I think. I probably butchered that to oblivion, but I tried at least. Says, what is your favorite metal genre? Thrash metal, and it's because it's fast, aggressive, and it's the most exciting subgenre of metal for sure. Okay. 431 asked, can you do a pants bondage tutorial? I don't know what that is, so I can't. Not exactly sure what that means. You guys, I'm gonna pause this live stream real quick, and I'm gonna come back, I promise. I just need to go to the restroom really bad, so I'm gonna pause it. Okay. Alright, sorry guys, I just had to really go to the restroom. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay. Alright, so Metalhead666 asks, who's your favorite metal YouTuber, like J-Ha Films, Black Metal, Werewolf, or Heavy Metal Entertainment? I like J-Ha Films, but I liked J-Ha Films before. What's his name? The new guy with the, I forgot his name. I don't. I'm not particularly a fan of that guy. I liked Carpizzle better, just because I thought that the videos were funnier with him in it. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't I haven't watched J-Ha Films in a long time. So yeah, is that his name, Chris? I don't know. I don't know his. I guess maybe that is his name. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I don't know. I don't. I would prefer that other guy, Carpizzle, because I've watched a video with that guy in it. I've watched a couple videos with that new guy, and I don't know. I just it's it's it doesn't grow on me, I guess. Or he didn't grow on me, I guess. Black Metal Werewolf I've heard of, and Heavy Metal Entertainment I've also heard of. I haven't watched their videos though. But yeah, I haven't. I think I watched. Actually, I watched. I think Black Metal or Heavy Metal Entertainment. I watched. I think some Battle Jacket video. I think, but other than that, I didn't really see any of their other stuff. But yeah, I can probably check them out. I don't really watch like metal YouTubers on here. I don't know. I don't know why. I just don't. So I never really given them a chance. But J Hoff Films I've heard of, and the older videos are funny, but the newer ones to me are just not that great. That's just my opinion, but yeah. Cheris China's asked, what is the worst experience you had in a concert? Um, that's kind of a tough one because I haven't really had a bad experience at a concert before. My experiences at concerts have all been positive and fun, and I don't think I've really had like a bad concert experience before. So that answers that. Okay, this is another hard one to say. Eamon Fikri, or I don't know. I tried at least. It's kind of a hard name. What is the most rare patch you ever had? I have a couple, and I showed them off before, earlier in the stream. For sure, pestilence, consuming impulse, and then the overkill one are the most rare. Um, oh, this is a colorful name right here. Fucking Slayer Kid 666 asked, "How was your day?" My day was great. Landon is epic. Asked, "What's your favorite Iron Maiden song?" That's tough because I have a lot, but I like The Duelists a lot. I think The Duelist is an underrated song, and I like Strange World. I think that's an underrated song as well, and I like Caught Somewhere in Time, the song. I've covered that actually, and I like Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, the song, but I it's hard to choose like my favorite Maiden songs because I like so many of them, but those are just a couple of like my personal favorites. Excuse me. All right. Demise asked, "Do you wear your battle jackets in public often?" I used to wear my battle jackets in public all the time. I used to wear it like basically everywhere I went, but I haven't worn my battle jacket out in a long time. Um, just because I don't know, I just don't feel the need to wear it out all the time. I kind of gets uncomfortable to wear a lot. I used to wear it all the time, and it sometimes it bothered me to wear it. Like it would get uncomfortable. Like in the summertime, it's really heavy because it's full of patches and it's jean material. So in the summertime, I'd get really hot, and I'd be like, well, I don't care because I'm wearing the battle jacket. But sometimes it just gets like it kind of bugs to wear sometimes. It feels too heavy, so I don't really wear it that often. I tend to wear it more when I go to shows and stuff. Um, but yeah, I used to wear it a lot. Um, oh, this is another hard one. So Pu Marcus Puol Puolimatka, Marcus Puolimatka, I think. I don't know if that's how you say the name. Um, no, you didn't really miss that much. I had to go to the restroom. That's all you missed. What is your favorite Finnish metal band? So I don't know. I don't listen to Finnish metal. At least I don't know if I have or not. Um, I don't know if I've actually listened to Finnish metal before. So I can't really speak on that question or can't really answer it. Um, so I don't really have a definite opinion. But if you'd like to give me suggestions on Finnish metal that I can check out, I'd be happy to check it out. Um, let's see. Red Tricks asked, "In your family, are you the only one who listens to metal, or are there more people who listen to it? Greetings from Costa Rica." Corpiclani. Okay, I've heard of Corpiclani. I don't think I've ever listened to them though. But I have heard of the name. Um, and no, I'm not the only one in my family that listens to metal. My brother listens to it. My mom listens to like the early stuff. My mom actually saw Dio twice in um, in 1984. That was the first one, and then 1985 was the second time she saw Dio. And then she's seen Scorpions, Bon Jovi, Dokken, and I think I think that was it. But yeah, so I'm not like the only one that listens to metal. I'm probably like one of three. So me, my brother, and my mom all listen to it. Um, let's see. Megadeth underscore 80 says, "Can I have a patch?" You might. You might get all three. We'll see. All right. Do you like Bad Brains from Wolf 90? Um, yes, I like Bad Brains. I think they're a fantastic. I think Bad Brains is unique in the sense that. Give me a second, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, so as I was saying, anyways, so Bad Brains, yeah, it's definitely they're definitely a unique kind of a punk band, and I really like the uniqueness in them, and I like the sound that they do. At first, though, I actually wasn't into Bad Brains at first. They kind of grew on me the more I listened to them. So at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I really like Bad Brains or not. But the more I listened to them, the more that they did grow on me. All right. Billy Lackey asks, "What is your favorite song?" Now that's that's a good question, and that's a tough question. I have a lot. Ride the Lightning is one of them. Um, what else? I listed my Iron Maiden ones. Angel of Death. Metal Storm Face the Slayer is one of my favorite songs by Slayer. I love Metal Storm Face the Slayer. What else? Indians by Anthrax is another great one. I like Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. There's a lot of what is my favorite song is probably a really hard question to answer because I have so many favorite songs, and not just in metal, just across all genres. I love it. Hey man, what's going on? And then Thomas Peralta again. You're really in here. Asks, what do you think is the worst metal subgenre that ever existed? And that is Norwegian black metal. To me, in my own opinion, I don't like it. It's just the way it goes. All right, guys, we got a couple more questions to go through. We're on the last few, and then I will announce the winner. We're gonna do it right now, but first we're gonna go to the community board because we got through all the questions on the actual video itself. So we're gonna go to the ones that are the last few from the community board. So let's see these. Give me one moment. Let me open this up. Let me see if this is the right one. Oh yeah. All right. So last few here. Here we go, guys. Metal Matt asks, when did you start collecting vinyl, and what's your favorite record you own? My favorite record that I own is of course, my first press Ride the Lightning patch, Ride the Lightning record. Um, and it was a lucky find, by the way. And my other favorite one is my first press Number the Beast record. And when did I start collecting vinyl? My first vinyl record that I ever got, I think, was Number of the Beast. Excuse me. And I think I got it when I was a. Excuse me again. I like always burp all the time. That's kind of gross, but I don't know why. I just always do. Um, anyways, I think I started collecting when I was like a sophomore in high school. I think that was the first time I ever bought a record, and I found Iron Maiden beer. I haven't actually drank any beer today. I did drink on the weekend though. I made some good beer on the weekend. But anyway, um, yeah, I think it was sophomore year, and it was such a lucky find. I was at this record store, it was a local record store, and it was in like a random bin. I just walked up to a random bin. It was just said rock, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just look at rock and see what happens. The first record I saw in the front, I was like, nah, I don't want it. I flipped, and right behind that record was Iron Maiden Number of the Beast, and I was just like I freaked out. I was like, dude, my very first record shop I go into, and I find this, and I looked at it, and I was first press 1982, and I was like, whoa, like that's incredible. So I got it right away. It was super cheap. I think I bought it for like $6. It was really cheap, and it was a first press, and it's one of the proudest ones I own besides my Ride the Lightning one for sure. So yeah, that was when I did it. TRV3Y again asks, when did you start listening to metal? I think I answered this one before, so we can move on. When did you start your first battle vest from Metal Matt? I answered that one. W. Dober Films asks, what live bands have you seen? I think I've gotten through this question already with just with what I've been talking about already. I've mentioned like a lot of bands I've seen already. So we can go through that one. Order of the Wax Crows asks, what bands do you wish you could see live but are too underground to tour? Too underground. Um, I don't know. I don't really know any bands that are like considered too underground to tour. Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't really know bands that are too well, not well known to tour because when bands are formed, they tend to go tour, even if it's not tour like in the sense like a world tour or even like a U.S. tour, European tour, or whatever. But at least they tour in the sense that they go to different places and play. Even if it's not an official tour, they'll go places to get their name out there to play. So let's see. Billy Lackey asked, "What got you into metal?" I've already answered that question already. Let's see what else. Putrid Abomination asks, "What are some underrated bands and albums that you want people to check out?" I don't know. I think for the most part, all the bands that I listen to are pretty much known by everybody in the metal scene, I guess. I don't really know any underrated bands. I like what's that band High Power? They're French. I really like them. If you never heard of High Power, I think you should check them out. They're a French band. Um, I like who else do I like that's not well known? Well, no, that's not true. They're pretty well known. Um, I think the only one that I really know of is High Power, and I think that people have actually heard of High Power anyway. Um, so I think you guys are teaching me more about bands that I've never heard of. Ad is another awesome French band. Never heard of them, but yeah, High Power is a great band, and you should go check them out. They're French. They sing. Oh, ADX. Yeah, I've heard of ADX. Yeah, High Power sings all in French, and they're a great French metal band. And I think you guys should check them out. Let's see. Megadeth Dave asks, "Are you a fan of early '90s grunge music? If so, what were your favorite bands?" Grunge, yes, I like grunge. I like Alice in Chains. I like, of course, they are good. They're High Power. Yeah, High Power is really good. Um, so yeah, I like Alice in Chains. I like Nirvana. Um, Autopsy. I've heard of Autopsy. Autopsy's a good band though. That's another death metal one that I can put on that uh, thing that I was doing earlier. Autopsy. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, so grunge. As far as grunge goes, Alice in Chains for sure. Early Nirvana. I like early Nirvana. Soundgarden is good. The Melvins is good, or they're good. Um, so yeah, there's like the grunge that like I would kind of like listen to right there. Even I think like Pearl Jam too. I like Pearl Jam, but I think Pearl Jam later was more like hard rock, not so much grunge, but more hard rock. But yeah. Let's see. Frankie Zane asks, "What opportunities has listening to metal given you that you wouldn't have been able to experience otherwise?" Um, well, I think as far as experiences go, just the fact that I get to see, go to these concerts and stuff, um, and being able to experience like once in a lifetime experiences at concerts is what metal has given to me. Also, it gives me opportunities to talk to you guys. It gave me an opportunity to branch out, and because I'm very introverted, and I don't like dealing with people at all. I'm very shy, and I feel like metal has really helped me to get out of my shell and to branch out and do new things because I would have never done this YouTube channel had it never been for heavy metal. Although, before all that stuff, I did upload like a couple, but it was never me. It was never me talking until I had the Battle Jacket video. Um, but before that, it was just, I think I only had like two or couple videos before that that didn't even involve me. Um, but if I wasn't into heavy metal, this channel would never exist. So I think as far as like what listening to heavy metal gave me a chance to do is expand and branch out and be more open and be more social and um, just get out of my comfort zone a little and be able to put myself out there. And I saw your question. What is my thoughts on Christians versus metal? Um, well, for me, I'm religious. I'm a Christian. I'm not ashamed to say that. I am a devout Christian, and yes, I watch stuff like The Exorcist. Yes, I listen to heavy metal, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that it's just movies. It's just music. It is just things that um, it's just to me it's just entertainment, and it shouldn't harm your religion that much. It shouldn't harm it at all, actually. If you're taking it seriously, like if you're thinking that Venom is serious or Slayer is serious or whatever, it's you're Christian is something against metal. Get it, your oh yeah, Christian metalheads. And honestly, I like Christian metal. There's Christian metal out there that I really like a lot. Um, could that be another reason I'm not into black metal? No, not really, because like I said, I listen to Mayhem, and Mayhem is like crazy intense. Um, it's just I'm just not into the sound that much. I just don't like the chaotic nature of Norwegian thrash metal. It's just not my thing. Um, but yeah, I'm a really devout Christian. I'm all about Christianity and my religion. I'm not ashamed of that at all. And I'm also not ashamed to say I listen to metal and watch horror movies or watch any type of movie, comedy. It's people people just see these things like horror or metal, and they want to push it away, but they don't realize that these things that there's bad things in comedy, there's bad things in romantic movies as well. There's bad things everywhere. It's not just in metal and horror or whatever. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? It's just literally everywhere. It's just these things bring to light um, the things that society fears most and doesn't want to acknowledge. We're these things challenge those ideas and bring it to light to bring awareness to people and say this exists, this is what goes on, this is how it's bad, this is what good can do to defeat what this is. Black Sabbath would sing about how Satan is bad, not praising Satan, but how he's bad and how to triumph over evil. Same with horror. The Exorcist, for example. In The Exorcist, what happens? Good triumphs over evil. Reagan is saved in The Exorcist. Thanks to a good deed by a priest who found his faith again. Now, that to me is a positive message. It's just with a horror background, yeah, but its overall message at the end is good conquered evil, and it's just done in a darker aspect. And I think that, people will see the dark side and they won't dive into it to see the light side, and I think that that's why. Um, I think that's my view on the whole Christian and metal thing. It's just I don't see it affect my faith at all. I just see it as it's my music. I listen to it for my own reasons, and that's just my thing. All right, we got one more question, and it's a good one. All right. The B Tech Dave Mustaine 5 asks, where can I get a cheap bullet belt? And that, my friend, I don't know. I would probably check eBay. That'd be my best bet to give you eBay. That's where I found mine. So, yep, I would say eBay. All right, guys. that's all the questions. So let's get to this patch giveaway. I'm gonna go to let's see here. Let's go to random name picker. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So what I'm gonna do is, let me copy all these names. Oops. Computer's going very slow, guys. Give me a second. Okay. Copy. Okay. All right. So let's, oops. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see? I wonder if you guys can see. Yep. So I should have everybody's names in here. Oops. So you got all your guys' names right there. Everyone's names are in here. They should be in here, everybody. Okay. So I'm gonna hit, where's the button? Pick a random name. Here we go. All right, you guys ready? I'm gonna hit it right now. 1, 2, and 3. Let's hit it. All right, let's see who won. I don't know who won. Ruben Road. You are the winner, my friend. All right, man. So congratulations, Ruben Road. You are the winner of these 3 fantastic patches right there. You guys, thank you guys for your support. Thank you for your questions, man. Thank you for all the support that you guys give. Congratulations to you, Ruben Road. I'm gonna if you see this video later on, I'm gonna go ahead and send you a message or comment to you on one of the posts, or I'm gonna have to get in touch with you somehow, and you'll get your patches. Now, in the case that Ruben Road, okay, in the case that he doesn't, if this kind of goes through, then I will have to do it again, and I'll make a separate video for that. I'm not gonna do it like, I'm not gonna list them all again, but for I think this person will definitely come through, and I'm gonna have to get in touch with him somehow. But in the event that I don't, I'll have to choose a new winner. So we'll see. But anyways, that's the Q&A. This went on a really long time. I'm so glad I did a live stream, because this would have been nuts to edit. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for participating in this. I will have giveaways in the future. Don't worry if you didn't win this time. You have many chances in the future. I will do other giveaways. So yeah, thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I'm gonna start the Let's Rank series soon. There's a post on the community feed to go vote for who you want to see in the first Let's Rank series. So go leave your suggestion over there, and the band with the most comments will be the very first band that I rank the discographies from. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys later, man. Thanks. Thank you guys.